from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, hello.
It's a fantastic day for Globe Earthers, isn't it? Oh, shit. I can hear myself shouting.
Well,
Yeah, we've got some feedback.
Shut up, you dickhead. Sound like an 80s DJ.
Yell at him, get him.
I was just thinking, is CC Creationist Cat? Is that Creationist Cat?
No. CC.
Oh, okay.
CC here. From, where's he from? Westchester County, New York. You'll see. Anyway, shall we get on with it? I think we should. I've got 3.
It's a long one. Let's do it.
Oh, it is a big one. Oh, it's a big fat one. And it's almost all flat earth tonight. So we're going to have some fun. I might even get to leave the show on YouTube for once. We're going to be so safe. As usual, we start tonight with a few funny clips to warm you up, starting with a speech from this little girl.
I am very proud of myself and all of my other friends inside my class. And my class is really sweet, except one little boy. And I need to tell you.
I love that.
She was ready to spill the beans there.
Right, yeah.
Well, I hope she
Get
runs
around
for
job
president.
call him in the future.
Oh, I love the way she'd seize that opportunity.
There's
Okay.
one kid, though.
Do you ever have that feeling that the world is against you and only you? This lady does.
I just want y'all to fucking know. There are 7 floors in this parking garage. Look at all of these fucking spaces, okay? Why did this fucking single fucking lot have a fucking pipe leak? Why?
I thought it was funny. Poor lady.
Why
Holy
was
hell.
her face sparkling for that?
I don't know. But
Filter.
don't you get that feeling? I get that feeling. The great Gertrude Perkins says, it is a shame they could not have taken Anthony Riley and Nathan Oakley to Antarctica and left them there. A wasted opportunity. Very true. We're going to be hearing from Anthony Riley in a bit. A rare appearance. Right. What have we got here? Yeah, if you are from the UK and you're old like me, you may remember a comedy show from the early 1980s called The Secret Policeman's Ball. The Chinese now have their own version. Take a look at The Policeman's Secret Ball. I have no fucking idea what that thing does. Does anybody have any idea what it does?
Is it like a bomb sniffer or something? I don't understand.
I don't know what it does, but there's a few videos of it walking around with the cops.
Yeah, they're escorting it around like it's a VIP.
Yeah, and there's a few videos of it sort of driving up hills and down hills and, you know, off-roading, essentially.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe you're supposed to think, oh, geez, they have a crazy advanced robot and we don't know what it does. Let's behave.
I think there is a lot of stuff like that comes out of China, I think, where you're meant to feel that this, you know, advanced technology is all over China, and really they've got one version of it that's, you know, being operated by a guy in the background or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be a GPS thing, actually. Might be like plotting the roads for auto driving or something.
Oh, yeah,
I just want the camera to pan to the side, and there's like the one fat nerdy cop walking behind like an Xbox controller.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, healthcare CEO assassin Luigi Mangione was in the news this week, so of course he generated conspiracies. Here is Alex Jones to tell us more.
Luigi Mangione, the heir to a big fortune, family works with the Pelosi's, goes and reportedly has been charged with it, kills this big insurance company CEO, and then he has a manifesto, basically a communism, and now he just got hauled into the police station there in New York, screaming and yelling, and people will play that in a moment. But within this story is something a lot bigger, and it's the fact that, and I got a stack of articles here, it's all over the news, you don't need me to even tell you about it, it's known that the majority of people think he's a hero because they're mad at the healthcare system. They're mad at the cost, they're mad at the bad quality, they're mad at the shots, they're mad at Fauci. That's why Biden's having to get preemptive pardons ready for him. And so that's another message to the system. But why is it a communist that reportedly killed him? That implies this is capitalism with big pharma and big medical and big insurance, all basically owned by BlackRock, handful of shareholders, setting up this giant fraud. We have some of the worst healthcare in the world. We have the most expensive healthcare in the world, and they call that capitalism. What it is a giant screw job. And now we've got his manifesto, and he wants government healthcare, and it's like the Unabomber. So take a horrible, corrupt system and then a fascist system, a kleptocratic system, and then call it capitalism, and then merge it with communism, and it'll still be private profits for the globalists, but even worse for us. Rationing, everything else on top of it. This guy's tied into Pelosi. He has a classic CIA, like the guy that shot Reagan or the guy that shot John Lennon, same thing, obsessed with certain passages, certain numbers. That's usually a programming sign, or it's also a sign of a schizophrenic. Could just be a run-of-the-mill loon. But we'll never know. Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was CIA. People really go, really? They type in, they go, wow, that's LA Times, Associated Press. Yeah. MK Ultra. He wasn't just in the CIA. He was in the CIA mind control program. The Aurora Batman shooter was in a hyper-secret DARPA brain interface NASA program. So I don't think what we're being told about this guy is true. When we get the manifesto, it'll be what the globalists want, full government takeover of healthcare. It's a wind-up toy. It's a mind control assassin. That's a real thing. Lee Harvey Oswald worked for the CIA. Unabomber worked for the CIA in mind control. In MK Ultra, look it up. McVeigh worked in secret operations.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what I did with the edit at the end there, but...
I mean, you're just like, oh, Jesus, Alex Jones is Alex Jonesing.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up.
Secret DARPA NASA mind control simulation program that no one knows about, but definitely they were in there.
Yeah,
It's definitely a real thing.
I love the way he uses that tactic that you often hear, where they'll spew out something absurd and then go, look it up at the end of it,
Look it up.
Like, he'll spew out something that sounds absurd, but you can verify is true, and then directly follow it with something there's no evidence for.
Right.
But he also says it's what they're telling us, and then if you look it up, you'll find exactly what they're telling us. But it's true because he said it with a very deep voice. That's always
right.
An interesting question is maybe Luigi can sue him too.
Also, it was interesting when editing that clip, I was able to take 1.5 minutes out of it just by taking out the gaps in between his sentences. Because he leaves like massive gaps. So that's why if you watched it, it was a bit choppy to watch.
That's where he's making up the next sentence.
Yeah. He's probably, when you think about it, must be so little content in his show because he's doing that, It must really, really, reduce the amount of stuff that they have to come up with.
So how long was that clip?
It's about 5 minutes.
Oh, was that long? Didn't seem that long.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some that will seem long.
Wait, so 25 minutes, he took out 1.5 minutes. 25% of his time is nothing.
Hang on, I'll tell you how long it was. It was 4 minutes, 29 seconds.
A giant screw job is exactly what I would call capitalism.
Okay, let's not get into that. Drones are trending this week, and CC from Westchester County is pretty pissed off about it. Take a look.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris from New York, Westchester County. It's 12/12/24. This is such bullshit, guys. I mean, I can't believe that this has become a problem now. There's a helicopter right now, okay? Now, remember that word and remember that airship, helicopter, okay? Because it's going to pertain to something that I'm about to speak to you about. Anyway, for the last couple of weeks now, we've had a problem. Yes, we've had drones flying all over the place that are the size of fucking buses. Okay? Some are the size of cars, some are the size of fucking buses. There is no amateur person who can get their hands on anything like this. This is militarized. Okay? I don't know if it's our military or if it's a military from a different country. I don't care. I could give a shit. Chances are it's probably us, but it might not be. Okay? There's some speculations about whether or not there's a mothership. They've been using this for a long time now, the last couple of weeks. A mothership. Iranian mothership out there that's blasting these things off. And again, they like to call the mothership. You see, they're trying to... They want us so bad, and I wish they would. They want to start an alien invasion. This is the only way they can start an alien invasion. By putting something up in the sky. That's it. They can't do it any other way. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the subject. How to take a drone down? Well, let's see. They could be gas powered. It's the only way I could possibly think that these things could stay up there for 45 minutes. I didn't realize that they were drones. Well, I guess the military, has all of this stuff. You realize if I was to even buy a drone that's half the size of this car, I would have to get licensed. I would have to go out and sign some paperwork. There's a waiting period, I believe. We can't get our hands on any of these things. Okay, it's obvious it's militarized. And it's probably ours because we've given other countries all of our weapons. Come on, get your shotgun, blow one of these things out of the air. I mean, what's going to happen? Oh, that's right. We have restrictions. I forgot about that. We made some restrictions. We can't get in the way of bringing one of these down because there's an FAA law. And so we've got our hands tied behind our back. So let's see how the population reacts to this, okay? Let's see if we start blowing these things out of the air and just taking it in our own hands, considering we've been let down from the politicians because they're nothing but useless piece of shits.
Oh, I think it's pieces of shit, actually, Cece. But I don't like to be a grammar Nazi. Actually, yes, I do. Anyway, the drones. What does everyone think of the drones?
These crazy guys are always recorded these videos in their cars too, aren't they?
I don't understand why they haven't shut down yet. This is America.
Yeah. I think some governor or someone have to say that today to tell people not to shoot at them, or maybe it was a cop.
Yeah, someone did.
I like that he was pointing out that they're gas powered, and that's why they last so long. But normally planes don't need gas; they just need compressed air.
Someone showed me a video yesterday of someone shooting at them, but it was faked. So that was disappointing.
I keep hearing that they're the size of a car or a bus, and it's like, where's the footage of that? Because they all look like regular ass drones to me, from what I saw.
Well, most of them I think look like airplanes. That's what I've seen.
Lights in the distance of cars.
However, while we're all being very, very skeptical, I have to say that from all the videos of these drones, you may conclude it's just regular aircraft. But I think something is going on. Have a listen to this air traffic control recording and see what you think. Oh, flat Earth stuff is about 10 minutes away, by the way. Oh.
Hey, Center, Horizon 2207. Got time for a question?
Horizon 2207, go ahead.
Hey, just wondering if you have any aircraft at our 10 o'clock, out over the coast that you're aware of? Kind of some interesting looking lights out there. Not satellites, but maybe aircraft.
How far out? Because I do have an aircraft at your 10 to 9 o'clock and about 120 miles out.
Possibly, yeah. It looks like at least 4, though. Something's flying. It's not satellites because they're changing direction. It's strange looking. I've seen this a few times over the last month in the same area.
Alright, next 1207, Roger. How far out at your 10 o'clock and are they at a similar altitude as you?
It's really hard to tell. They seem quite far and probably the same altitude or higher.
Roger, thanks for the report.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, 1596.
1596, bud.
Is there any military activity out straight ahead of us?
1596, no, we're not seeing anything. I had another one report at like 30,000 feet in the Eugene area. We're not sure what it is.
Yeah, there's lots moving out there.
1596, yeah, they're looking into it.
And where is that at for 661 Lima Fox?
661 Lima Foxtrot, okay, bye. You know, to 1596, does it still look like it's in the Eugene area?
Yeah, just straight west of Eugene. I mean, we're seeing 3 or 4 targets. You know, they're all altitudes, up and down. It's pretty crazy.
You know, 1596, does it look like it's about at your altitude at level 260?
There was some at 30 probably. But, I mean, they're shooting way up. We'd say maybe up to the 50s, it looks like.
1596, thanks. Medevac 1 Lima Fox, did you copy?
Yeah, I heard it. We'll be looking. 661 Lima Fox. I think got a whole way in.
This is 2207, thanks. Alaska 835, do you see any lights or aircraft movement out here at like 3 o'clock there? I have a couple aircraft reporting it. Alaska 835, Roger, thank you. And you can contact Seattle Center 125.8 today. Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, Cedric North Bend Airport.
Direct North Bend Airport. And is there traffic actually out about our 2 to 3 o'clock, about, I don't know, 20, 30 miles?
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, no, is that the 4 different lights going up and down? I'm getting a few reports, but you're seeing it right in front of you now too as well?
It's 2 to 3 o'clock off, about 2 to 3 o'clock from our position. Looks about 20 miles going in circles.
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, yeah, we're not seeing anything, getting lots of different reports out there, some at 30, some all the way up to 50,000, about 3 or 4 different lights. Does it look like they're around your altitude now?
No, there's one way up high and one about my altitude. Moving in like a circle, like a corkscrew pattern.
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, Roger. Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, just looking into this a little bit more. Could you give me another more accurate report, please?
All right, I'm visually have eyes on what looks like an aircraft strobe that's at my 2 o'clock and 22 miles. At my altitude, I'm actually showing him on TCAS. Do you see that one?
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, I do not. Descendant pilot's discretion maintain 14000.
Descendant maintain 14000. Medevac 661 Lima Foxtrot. He looks like he's moving towards. It looks like it's moving towards the north. Like I said, 22 and a half miles off my right wing. Medevac 661 Lima Fox.
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, thank you.
And center Medevac 661 Lima Fox. Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, go ahead. Just had another one show up about my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back out towards the ocean. It's red in color, moving at extreme speeds. I don't even know how to describe how fast he's moving. 661 Lima Fox.
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, Roger. You are cleared to maneuver as necessary, left and right, to avoid the UFO out there, and all the reports you've given us are good information. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Medevac 1 Lima Foxtrot, any chance you're able to film any of that?
We're trying right now. 1 Lima Foxtrot. It's weird. It's a red circular shape, and it keeps zipping out towards the ocean and then coming back in about, 20 miles or closer to us, and then it zips back out of the ocean and we can't see it. 1 Lima Fox.
So, I mean, multiple pilots all reporting seeing a similar thing. I don't know. I think you have to give that some credibility, right?
Certainly
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Serious altitudes they're talking here.
Right.
30,000 to 50,000 feet? What in the hell?
I know.
I mean, only certain aircraft that are built by humans could even get that high.
Right. I just don't think you can say there's nothing to this. And people say, well, maybe it's, America's own military. But, they've got loads of, like, remote places they can test shit like that, right?
Yeah, why would they be over Eugene, Oregon? That's
Right.
that's too weird.
They had to shut
strange
the,
part of that.
Where they're interfering with commercial flight traffic. You
yeah, they
wouldn't
had to
do
shut
it.
down an entire airport for like over an hour the other day because of it, right?
Right. It's weird.
The strangest part of that is he's saying that it's zipping towards him and then back over the horizon?
Yep.
That's really fucking fast.
Yeah, it's really odd, isn't it?
And
Really
pilots
that's
took
weird.
some clips, some video clips that they posted.
The thing is, I haven't seen a compelling video clip. Everything I see, I just think, well, that just looks like a plane.
Mm.
I think maybe one, but the one I did see, it looked like one of those, those Jetson 1 things, like a drone that you can sit in, kind of thing.
Right.
It looked like
Yeah,
one of
that
I've
those.
seen
can't
some
be
odd
drones.
things.
Okay, our next video was recommended to me by Pete Shea. Oh, this is the last one before the Flat Earth stuff, by the way. So you can imagine how nuts it's going to be. Is Baron Trump really Princess Diana? Or something like that?
Do you ever notice Baron doesn't look a lot like his parents? You want to know who he does look like? He just happens to have a very certain resemblance to someone, especially when he was younger. And I don't see that resemblance, but you know who else he looks like? Now, why would that be? Why would this be? I'll tell you why. Because Michael Jackson's kids wouldn't grow up to look like that. They would grow up to look like that. Just like he is growing up to look like that, and clearly came from that. And you might be saying, well, why in the world would Baron look like Diana? Well, why don't we take a look? In an attempt not to upset the very, very kind content moderators, I'm just going to present you some information and let you make up your mind. But before you make up your mind completely, stick around to the end, because I do have a smoking gun. And yes, their features are quite different. But when you switch personalities full-time, a mask doesn't cut it. You need to make some permanent improvements. But cosmetics doesn't change the way you sit. It doesn't change the way you wave. And apparently doesn't even change the way you dress. And did you know that Donald Trump aggressively pursued Diana after her divorce? They also like to put the truth right in plain sight. Not just visually, but audibly. Take a listen.
Mr. and Mrs. Trump? Mr. and Mrs. Trump?
Have you ever taken a look at what Baron Trump looks like? He resembles someone an awful lot. Gotta just be a coincidence, though. Definite coincidence. I did promise you guys a smoking gun, though, and I don't want to disappoint. And if you're smart and you're trying to deceive people, you get rid of identifying markers. So, of course, they would get rid of that. And even though I see a little remnants there, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these. Those. I'll show you. Now you're going to fool the masses by getting rid of the most recognizable identifying marker. You got to get up pretty early in the morning to fool this guy. And that, and that, and that, and that are pretty unmistakable. And well, if you haven't seen my dozen videos on how he is he, and I have found markings over and over and over again, and these are new ones, well, you should go look at some of the old ones. But I mean, at this point, if you still don't see it, you're never gonna see it. And maybe that's just okay. Maybe you weren't meant to see it. But this guy knows. But of course, all this just for entertainment purposes. I'm here to make your day with thinking I'm a loony, crazy conspiracy theorist and I'm a satire count, entertainment only, but I mean, come on. And especially on this. Come on, people. Time to wake up.
TikTokers are always terrified that they're going to have their account taken down.
Melania Trump has had cosmetic surgery.
Right.
So using her current picture as comparison is just wrong.
I know, but they sit the same way.
One time.
Yeah, they're not the same. Diana was not
from
6 foot like she is.
From the
They're gonna make her taller.
From the vast array of ways that we have to sit, they chose that one way. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if they were different people, she'd be sitting on her head or something. But both of them on their ass? Jeez.
So how old is Trump if he is Elvis?
Is he saying he's actually Elvis? Is that the idea? I mean, I was
Yeah, he
confused
is.
by that
Oh, yeah.
because he wasn't saying he was that Baron Trump was Diana. He was saying that he was her son. I guess. Is that right? Have I
Yeah.
understood
Yeah.
that?
But in the end,
I could never actually be bothered to pay attention to that stupid video.
It seemed like that he was saying Donald Trump is Elvis, who aggressively pursued Diana, and then somehow she used cosmetic surgery to become Melania, and then had Baron.
Well, Elvis, he could, wiggle his pelvis, couldn't he?
Trump
Well,
definitely
Elvis,
can't.
if alive, would be about 82 years old today.
Oh,
Was that Tim Osmond, by the way?
a good man?
Oh, actually, I might
No, that's not Tim Osmond. That's a guy called. Oh God, I can't remember. Ask Pete. It's one of his favourites.
I know he loves Tim Osmond, so
Yeah. Okay, let's get
Melania's a lot younger.
Okay, let's get some flat earthing done, starting with our old friend Joe Hanvey, who has been playing with his dome again, this time to explain 2 celestial poles. Take a look.
Okay, so I'm going to try to explain star trails again on the flat earth, because people want to say things like, well, why do we see different constellations in the south and the north if there's only a northern star field? Well, from this position, it looks like a northern star field. It looks like it's just over the north, and that's it. But that's not the case. And if you look up, you can see how I'm projecting it in. So I'm just projecting it onto the ceiling, and then the dome is showing it. And you can see the projector back there between the telescopes. So we have this super reflective ceiling above us, a superfluid layer and a dome. The dome is most likely crystalline of some sort. The superfluid ceiling acts like a two-way mirror, and that's what gives us this star trail phenomenon of the Arctic motion and the anti-Arctic motion of the luminaries. So again, you see projecting it into the ceiling here, and the projector's down there. But when I come up from above and look down, you can clearly see that that same star field covers the entire realm. So it's not just a northern star field. And what you're seeing is at the equator, you get this converging and diverging zone of arc and anti-arc on either side of the equator. And that's caused by the super reflective mirror type dome and superfluid ceiling that is also acting as a two-way mirror. So it's because of that that we have the northern and southern star trails, and we have different stars in the north and in the south. However, we do see the same constellations in the north and south at times, depending on the time of year, like Orion, for example. So you're seeing clearly the star field covers the entire realm. It's projected in from the ceiling. You come back and you look at it from here, zoom back in, and you see it looks like a single star field. rotating one direction. The interesting thing is when you come in, you get that anti-rotation effect. So you see how it looks like it's rotating opposite in the south as it is in the north. When you come in close, you get that anti-rotation. But you saw it's one star field stretched across the entire realm, which also fits scripture because it says he stretches the north out over the empty places. And then the super reflective mirror dome and mirror sky is also in scripture, where he talks about how it's like a cast metal mirror or a bronze mirror that reflects heat or a molten looking glass. All of that would do this. All of those things, all of those descriptions cause this phenomenon. So when we test what the scriptures say about our sky, we actually see that the phenomenon that we observe in real life fit that modeling. You can say it doesn't, but I'm showing you that it does. The interesting thing is when you come up here and you see that rotation and anti-rotation, see how it follows no matter where you go? That's following is the southern part of the sky. So it is an apparent thing caused by the super reflective sky, the mirror sky. The same thing goes for the 24-hour sun. So you can clearly see, looks like one star field rotating in the dome. It's actually pretty simple. It's not that complicated, not that difficult, but it is what's causing the phenomenon. And if you're far enough south at the right time of year, you're gonna see the sun and even the moon at certain times for 24 hours. It's just the way the dome manipulates the light.
Arnold says, just watch your moon landing series all the way through for at least the third time. I've paid more for things I've enjoyed far less. Thank you very much, Arnold. That's very kind of you. Much appreciated. So, what do you reckon to Joe Hanvey's nonsense that requires that you are looking at the inside of that dome, the reflection on the inside, while you're looking through the reflection on the outside? And apparently that explains a 24-hour sun as well, apparently.
I mean,
related to Geo.
actually explained why the constellations are different.
Right.
Right.
Nothing in that demonstrates that.
Also, we don't see stars that are stretched, right? And there was like very clearly like these streaky, stretched out stars when he was moving around. And if you had a giant dome, they'd be stretched even further. They'd be just like long, stretchy lights across the sky.
Yeah, plus they were only on the top of it as well, weren't they? There was a big gap around the side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like they don't understand.
I always find it cute when they call them luminaries.
Yeah, yeah.
The luminaries
That's real
of the
cute.
They
sky.
just can't say stars, can they? They just can't do it. Pete calls them the skylights.
They're just lights,
Lights
dude.
in the sky. They're just lights, dude. Yeah.
Right, so what's next? Oh, gosh. It's the final experiment all the way down now, starting with a debate between Will Duffy and Flatzoid. Just, I mean, keep your eye on Flatzoid in this, though, because he just, so many times, he has that look on his face when he's finished saying something, as if, he's got that look of, I wonder if I'll get away with that one kind of look. I mean, he just looks like a liar. He really does. Anyway, have a look.
The predictions were talked about in me stating it's not science. You are the one making a claim that because sun does this, therefore this is the outcome. Therefore, a false dichotomy and not scientific. Now, I'm glad you concede it's not scientific. That's great. But I don't need to make a prediction because I'm not the one with the burden here. You are the one having a burden because of your insecurities, as you plainly said we're going to talk about. Because you have an insecurity about the globe, you need to go and prove it to yourself. Does this TFE debunk a flat Earth or a globe? No, it does not disprove or prove a flat Earth in the least. The only one it can invalidate is a globe, because the invalidation is based on a claim made by the globe. So the burden is on the globe side, not with the flat Earth side.
Okay, so how can dozens of people around the world who have never been to Antarctica accurately model what the sun will do if they've never been there? How is that possible?
A model is a model. They can accurately model a black hole in space. Does that make a black hole real? No, it doesn't. A model is just a model. You can put data in, you can make it. You can make a model of a donkey Earth and get the same results. That doesn't make it reality. A model that you're claiming is reality is a reification fallacy. Now, again, you are trying to push me to make a prediction and me to make a claim which I've never made. And no, I never agreed to make predictions. The whole thing was you came and asked, will I have a discussion with you about this, the TFE? I said, perfect, that would be great. Because the whole reason I wanted to do this was to show it's not an experiment and to show it's a false dichotomy. And it's very telling, guys, that this guy's trying to be dishonest and trying to character assassinate me and trying to bully me to make a claim that is his.
Hey, Keith, did you change your position after I announced the final experiment?
No. I just said I got exactly the same position.
Which is what again?
I don't believe there is a 24-hour sun because I haven't seen any evidence for a 24-hour sun. But again, that doesn't make it a flat or globe Earth. It has nothing to do with, do I know if there's a 24-hour sun or not? The reason I don't believe there's a 24-hour sun is because all I've seen is edited footage. Now, if there's a 24-hour sun, the only thing that will change is, I see now there's a 24-hour sun. But does that make it a globe Earth? Heck no.
I'm going to share a video with everybody really quick here, because I do believe, Keith, you have changed your position since we announced the final experiment. This video is only a little over a minute long, but it's going to be pretty important to see, because, again, I don't understand why people are changing their positions before we even go. So here we go.
They're going
your camera off there.
to Antarctica, well, they're apparently going, and they're just going to say, ooh, I see sunlight, therefore the sun's up in the sky. Yeah. That's what's going to happen, because they're not going to see the sun 24 hours a day. Because they don't understand the difference between sunlight and daylight.
Exactly.
All right, we've got Flatzoid. Are you willing to publicly admit you were wrong about flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica this December?
Yeah. Sorry to break it to you guys. You're not going to see the sun 24 hours even if you wanted to.
All right, we've got Flatzoid. Are you willing to publicly admit you were wrong about flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica this December?
Yeah. Now, we're saying you'll see daylight for 24 hours. You won't see sunlight for 24 hours.
All right, we've got Flatzoid. Are you willing to publicly admit you were wrong about flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica this December?
Yeah. And that is seeing the sun for 24 hours in the sky, which you won't. Because many people we have spoken to that worked in Antarctica never saw a 24-hour sun. Yes, there was sunlight, but they never saw a 24-hour sun.
All right, we've got Flatzoid. Are you willing to publicly admit you were wrong about flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica this December?
Yeah.
Let's let Flatzoid respond. We can.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm happy because this is showing all he has is trying to misrepresent what I was saying there. Yes, I will change my position on seeing the 24-hour sun or not. Not that the Earth is not flat or a globe. This is what's called misrepresentation of a person.
Okay, real quick. The question asked of you is, will you admit you were wrong on flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and you said yes. So you have changed your mind because you're no longer willing to change your mind on flat Earth if we see a 24-hour sun. In your mind, what is Antarctica?
Ice.
Okay, that's it. So if I have
It's
a
ice and land. It's a land.
Okay, great. Where is
The
Antarctica?
outer rims. The outer rims. They have answered 2 of your questions.
Hold on.
Okay?
What do you mean by outer rims?
As the Bible says.
No.
It's where the dome meets the earth. How's that?
What dome?
The dome that was spoken about, you know, the firmament in the Bible. Come on, you're a pastor. You're supposed to know this.
Hold on. The Bible talks about things historically, which I love. We're talking about present day. Are you saying present day right now?
Are you claiming
Hold on,
the
you're
historical
interrupting
narrative from?
You're interrupting me.
Let's let him finish his
I'm
sentence.
sorry.
Are you saying right now, present day, December 6, 2024, there's a dome?
Yes.
Where is it?
Up in the sky. Where else would it be?
You've seen it?
No, we're breathing. That's why we got a dome. It's
Okay,
holding
so-
the waters above.
Okay, so there's something that you believe exists that you can't prove exists and that you can't see?
I can. It's
How-
called
how-
the second law of thermodynamics.
Okay. You said Antarctica is an outer rim, right?
According to the flat Earth model, according to yes.
So kind of like this here.
That's a map. That's not a model.
What's the difference?
A model makes predictions. A map just explains things. It gives directions. That is a sun map. So it's giving the directions of where the sun moves and time. That's what it says on the top there. Read what it says.
Is this an accurate map?
That's what it says according to the sun.
I'm just
Read
asking
what it
you.
says.
We're trying to talk about Antarctica here, right? Is this an accurate map of where Antarctica is?
That's just a map about sun movement, not about Antarctica.
I know, but you're not answering my question. Is this an accurate?
That is my answer. You got different maps for different things. This one is specifically about the sun's movement over the earth, not about Antarctica.
Okay, but is this a good representation of Antarctica?
Probably because it's on the outer rims, as you would say.
Okay, perfect. So again, this is not a perfect map. No one's claiming that it is. But do you believe there's only one sun?
Yes, because that's what the Bible says. And I've only observed one sun. But
Perfect.
we have seen videos where there's more than one sun, and I would more like to think that is a reflection on the dome than a second sun.
Okay, great. So this is South America, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be south of South America in Antarctica, so right about here.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Australia, way over here, is going to have a sunrise and a sunset each day.
Mm-hmm.
How can we have a 24-hour sun down here while they get a sun each day over here?
Again, trying to make me give claims. Secondly, have you ever heard of reflection, internal reflections? Caustic cups. Caustic
Yeah.
cup reflections. Yes, there we go.
Okay, great.
It's a possibility.
Okay, perfect.
We as flat earthers don't claim to know what the sun is or where it really is, but there are models out there which people have made to show you, and I'm sure you've seen it, internal reflections to give a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Throughout this entire experience of the final experiment, I have noticed that the flat earthers do not want to make predictions. They do not want to show a model. And I figured out why. You ready for this? Flat Earth doesn't have a model because you can't model something that doesn't exist. Just let that sink in, everyone. Thanks so much.
He did well, didn't he, Odysee? I thought.
Ooh, nice shot at the end there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That was
He hit it
mean.
right on the head.
Poor
No,
flat
poor
boy.
retard.
That grin he's got the whole time.
Flatzoid's just terrible at it. The wriggling around he did around that map just couldn't allow himself to commit to it, could he?
Well, they have a fundamental
Ultimately, just
misunderstanding of what
commit to it.
They have a
Didn't even make
fundamental
eye contact.
misunderstanding as to what a model is.
Right. Yeah,
I
I
don't
would.
understand. It's a result of observations, not the other way around.
Right, and I would say a map is a model.
Oh yeah.
I've got a whole
Model.
video on this subject where I use maps of subway maps to make a point about this. Anyway, Flamingo Boot says they love the AE map, but when you use it to debunk them, they run away from it like they have no clue about that map. Yep, isn't that the case? It's on their T-shirts, it's on their thumbnails, they've got posters of it behind them on their live streams, it's on mugs. They have a guy at the Flat Earth Conference selling clocks, models of it. I mean, they cannot walk away from it. I know they'll try, but they can't.
A couple of months ago, Jeran on his live, he was talking about, okay, we don't have a map. We don't have, forget the map, but we do have a north center and an outer rim, and the outer rim is south. And the sun, if the sun goes beyond the outer rim, we got a problem.
It's not just the map that comes unraveled, because that'd be one thing, right? Like that they have this map, and then it turns out to not be the case. But years worth of their justifications for who they are, right? Well, they like to hide everything in plain sight. They put it in the UN so that it would mock us. They did this. And now they're like, oh, I guess it's not a thing.
Yeah. Right. Well, there's going to be plenty of time to comment on this. So, sorry, were you going to say something? Was it Moyok?
Yeah, I was just going to say they were afraid that somebody was going to kill them if they actually saw the sunset or something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. They were all beforehand. Well, you'll hear some of it. Flat Earth Banjo, who has spent much of his time in Flat Earth plotting flight paths on an AE map, is more motivated than others to discredit the final experiment. This week, he came up with a new theory. Enjoy.
So guys, we live on a polar coordinate system. There's only one North Pole. There's no South Pole. As Roddy Cooper said it here, there can be no midnight sun in Antarctica simply because Antarctic Pole does not exist. So there's no South Pole. So there's no way the sun can be going the opposite way in Antarctica because there's no South Pole. We live in a polar coordinate system centered at the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole. That's how we navigate this flat Earth. There's no South Pole. So never before any of these 24-hour suns have been documented in Antarctica. And what they have done, probably they have already filmed either in the Arctic or they're just using some stock images from the Arctic 24-hour sun. And they're going to be inserting this on their documentary, telling it's the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Their tactics, just as Duffy said from the beginning, is on it to destroy Flat Earth. He was never interested in learning anything or being friends with Flat Earthers. It is what it is. Flat Earth is truth, but those liars, they want to keep us in the Matrix. Shout out to you, Captain Restur. He posted this on one of my videos. So I think they already filmed the 24-hour sun in the Arctic this summer for the TFE, and they will present it as an Antarctic one. Here's why I think so. I will present 3 clues, and then I will present my little research I did today that goes along with my suspicion. So clue number 1, Brazilians were offered in 2023 to go to Antarctica in 2024. They proposed to do it in the winter. That was the Brazilians. The flat earthers say, okay, let's do it right now, the winter 2023, but were declined. My take is that they were declined because the footage that was to be taken in summer 2024 was not there yet. Yeah, it makes sense. That's why when they started talking about going to Antarctica in 2023, they started the conversation, let's set a date in 2024 to go. And the Brazilians said, let's go right now. In December 2023, that's when the solstice was right there, you know. Say, let's do it right now. And they declined. They said, no, 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 you got to wait until 2024. Why? You know, it's because perhaps they were waiting for summer 2024 and to get all this footage they wanted in the Arctic and then combine. You know, it's a movie. It's not, some movies, they take 1 year, 2 years to come out with a movie, you know. So clue number 2, Jeran mentioned that he would take newspapers from Chile and show it to the viewers. Now, this does not make sense at all. We all know that 24-hour sun could possibly be filmed only in Antarctica during this time of the year, but it makes sense as a diversion. Like, hey, look at the Chile newspaper, therefore we are filming in Antarctica. It makes, yeah, that's the silliest thing, you know, coming from Jeran, of course, the show, you know. You can film today. I mean, they could have filmed already in the summer, keep the footage, and then they go to Antarctica in December, they buy the newspaper, and edit the footage they filmed in July, in June, in the Arctic, to the one they are filming now in Antarctica, and say, okay, here's the newspaper, but the footage was taken in the Arctic in June. So it makes a lot of sense here. Clue number 3, only recently we got the news that Ale company will accommodate the crew by taking them a few kilometers from the camp so the crew could have an uninterrupted view of the horizon. How convenient, because we won't have the landmarks of Union Glacier there. Yes. So, you know, who will just say that they are really at the Union Glacier? You know, they could have already done this footage in the Arctic. And finally, because of all of the 3 clues above, I did a quick research regarding the online activities of the participants around the summer, northern solstice, and I found that none of them were making posts between June 12 and June 18. And also between June 29 and July 3rd, I checked Jeran, Witsitt, Dave McKeegan, Mac2, and Critical Think, so they could have done it in those 2 time gaps. So it would be great if somebody could dig a little deeper, because I only check YouTube activities. So, you know, it's a movie. It's a movie. They're going to make a movie. It's been a long time in the making. These guys are not working. Duff is not working alone. He's working with more people. The whole thing is a movie. And it definitely, this makes sense. This June, past June, they already got the footage they needed in the Arctic. And they will pretend this footage is from the Antarctic. That's, you know, that's what it is right there. Now, one of us, maybe 2, 3, maybe a dozen of us can figure this out. But of course, they're going to take this to the media and blow it and, you know, just make fun of Flat Earth.
Well, sounds completely reasonable to me. What do you think?
Babushka, go home, you're drunk.
He is the only person that rivals David Weiss for just pure stupidity or dishonesty.
Right. Just makes up any old shit, doesn't he? But like I say, I think he's very, very bought into that map. You know, he's done a lot of content that relies on it.
Yeah,
once you build a whole career on something.
That turns out not to be the case for him.
All right, Jeranism did a call-in show recently with some different takes from flat earthers on the final experiment. Take a look.
4 or 6 centers of rotation. Well, it says in the Bible that the sky is like a tent. A tent has 4 or 6 sides sometimes. So maybe it is domed with sides. And think if you had sides, you're going to have 4 or 6 different rotational centers there. Something to think about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Would you think if that was the case that they would all look like suns with sunspots moving on them and everything?
Well, you know what? You remember my story when I was in Vegas and I said the sun was burning the right side of my face? I
remember.
Thought about going to the other side of the pool.
Yeah, the reflection.
Right? And it's reflecting off the mirror. Go out on a sunny day, get a big mirror, and shine it on Missa and tell her to close her eyes and see if she can tell which one's the real sun. She can't. So it sends heat and light, just like you like saying.
Yeah, but if you zoomed in on it, would it appear the same?
Absolutely. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now, if there's some super fluid, super shiny, reflective, as good or better than a mirror up there, who knows?
Yeah.
But again, it's just something to consider. Just
Definitely.
something to consider.
And the good thing is, okay.
And the other thing is the weight restriction on.
I pretty much figured that out. I'm pretty good.
What's that?
I pretty much got it now. I redid some stuff and kind of thought about what I really need and what I don't need, and it was down to like 28
You know
pounds.
what you need? You need a 150-pound telescope, the Hydra Alpha telescope or whatever.
Right.
That's what you need, and I think that's why they're so restrictive. They don't want you bringing anything that would.
Yeah. You know, here's another
possibly
thing.
Show you the truth.
Here's another thing. So when I was talking about taking the stars and inverting them and seeing if we could figure them out, I was looking online for like stars moving, but I didn't want star trails, and then it hit me. That's why they love star trails. Star trails screw up the ability for you to ever match them and see that the north and south are the same, right? Star trails make it so that you would never see the stars. You just see the lines.
I know I've heard you say that you think the final experiment is like a mutually exclusive experiment, right?
If it's perfect, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, right? I mean, if it was like concrete, then I do think it's pretty mutually exclusive. I think that, and I think that for several reasons. I just don't think that there would be. What are the chances that we're being deceived about where we live, but it actually matches perfectly to what we observe, and then where we think we live, it doesn't match at all. Wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah, but it only matches like one observation towards what they told us rather than everything else. Like,
but
do you think the globe has impossibilities? Because this would be an impossibility, like you say, on the AE map, if we were to see this.
Right.
But why would one impossibility on the AE map of the flat Earth make all the other impossibilities of the globe disappear?
It doesn't, because people think too much about proof. They think things it means proof this, proof that. I'm not saying anything is proof of anything. I'm just able to have the balls to say that the observation matches the globe better. I didn't say.
Well, yeah.
Well,
that observation does match the globe better.
That's all I
would
said.
agree with that, but it still doesn't make it a globe.
I didn't say that. There's no proof of that. And number one, there's so many problems with the globe. It doesn't mean we're spinning. It doesn't mean the sun's 93 million miles away. It doesn't mean an atmosphere can exist next to a vacuum.
Exactly.
So what
So
people have a
would
problem.
more be like, you don't know what the Earth is. That would be your claim then,
Well,
right?
I'll never be a glober. I'll never be a glober because of what that entails, what comes with that, right? What comes with that is just you basically are subject to the mainstream everything, right? It's like once you become a full-on science believer, you give up all your autonomy. You're not allowed to make your own decisions. You don't have your own beliefs anymore. You are basically handing your beliefs. I'll never do that. My beliefs are my own. I will be responsible for them. So there's never going to be I'm now going to go teach people the globe. It's just not going to happen.
Awesome. Because you always talk about gravity being an impossibility, that every single object innate within it has a force that pulls to the center. How crazy that is.
That's crazy.
So it's like, but if we are a globe, that has to exist then, because that's why we're a sphere, because that force exists. So, and then if you have that, if you then acknowledge that we're a sphere, you're acknowledging that force exists, which means a Big Bang could be possible, and now all of the universe could be formed through a force that is innate through matter.
Yeah, but you keep
now you don't have God anymore. I honestly believe when you're a glober, I'm not saying you specifically, but anyone, when anyone's a glober, it's logical to then become an atheist over a series of steps.
I agree. I would agree with that. So that's why I'm saying that by placing that on me, you're making it sound like I'm saying that then I'll be Team Globe and never think about Flat Earth. No, what I'm saying is I can say that the observation better matches the globe. That's called being honest. If people can't say that, then I have no respect for them at all. Like if the globe basically.
I agree that observation is what the globe calls for. I don't think anyone would deny that the globe calls for that observation. I just think that they would deny that. Okay, cool. You guys have one observation that sides with your model, but your model is impossible on so many other fronts that we know your model's still wrong. So cool, you get one check of the box, but the flat Earth has 100 checks.
Well, but
why does one check overcome our 100 checks?
So name 100 checks. Name one.
All right, it'd probably be dozens, but
okay. Name the top one.
The top. Well, seeing too far is one, but yeah, they have refraction.
Is that I understand that I've been pushing this map for 9 years, 10 years, right? For many reasons. It is the best layout. By the way, it's the only map. People think like there's going to be another map that's going to come out. What do you mean? Right? Could we be wrong about where Australia is versus New Zealand? No, we cannot be wrong. Can we be wrong about where Africa is in comparison to South America? No. We know that Africa has to come before South America. Never in the history of the world has South America gotten light before Africa. It has to go the other way around. We know which the sun does. So what the sun does, this path, every day for all of history, okay, then we know what the sun does. So we can determine what the ground, in fact, everything that is on, people are like, we can't tell the shape of the ground by the lights in the sky, but everything that we've ever done is through the celestial stars. Like as far as travel, as far as celestial navigation, as far as latitude, longitude, everything is with the lights in the sky. So what do you mean? Now, what I've heard from many people is they've given up. They've been like, oh, it doesn't matter. We don't need a map or model. We don't subscribe to some map or model. That's great. But that's not what I was involved with. This whole time for 10 years, I've been trying to explain, prove, show the flat earth and how it works in reality. If I came back after seeing the sun do this, after I've been teaching this for 9 years, and you just want me to be like, it doesn't matter what I saw. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's just being a pussy. That's it, not admitting that you've been wrong for 9 years. So do I get any accolades for being like, oh, Jeran's a stand-up guy? No. People would rather me lie. People who have bailed on me, bailed on the flat earth, want me to be a liar. So the truther community actually encourages and promotes and pushes people to lie. Just, that is the truth. It's not a lie. It's not a misunderstanding on my part. I know of people that would rather me go there and tell a lie. They've told me so. So
I find it ridiculous because I used to always think that flat earthers were kind of more intelligent. But man, the past couple months, ever since this final experiment, but they can't even get past this experiment part because they're like, but it's not an experiment, it's an observation. Bro, I've been getting fucking clowned on because I'd be on these spaces on X arguing your talking points. Man, they cannot grasp it. It's fucking ridiculous. I literally think it's fucking absurd how stupid flat earthers are, because I used to think that they were like smart, and now I've come to the conclusion that I might be a retard. Like, holy shit, man, I can't believe that it's almost redundant how many times you've explained this, right?
Yeah, it's scary.
And they can't understand it. I understand it vividly, and I wouldn't even say I'm like a very intelligent person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in fucking retard class growing up, and I fucking understand every single word you're talking about because I was always in love with geography. And man, I understand what the globe was. And then I didn't believe in the globe. I believed that I was like, man, there's something weird about the globe and evolution. And I would always argue with the teachers that fucking Greenland should be a continent. And I was always kind of witty, but kind of retarded at the same time. But man, these people that come on your platforms, on your forums, right, and argue this, that they can't understand the 24-hour sun at the equator and how it doesn't work in Antarctica. Oh my God, I can't fathom it anymore. I'm getting sick of this shit. I just really was waiting this long to give you my blessings. I want to thank you and Witsitt for fucking going out there and really just putting the nail in the coffin already. Man, you've been like a role model to me.
How weird would it be? How weird would it be if the sun sets, though? If the sun sets, I don't even know how to react to that at this point, because people would be vindicated for their garbage beliefs, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's got a mixture of stuff there from Jeran, right?
Kind of a retard, Jem. Kind of a retard.
There was two things I liked. I liked the one guy saying, oh, there's only a logical few steps towards atheism. It's like, yeah, you're so close, buddy. You're so close.
Yeah.
The other guy is
Yeah.
like, I might be a retard. And it's like, oh, shit, he's really close. Come on.
But that thing about atheism is just such nonsense. I don't know how Jeran can just sit there and go, oh, yeah, I agree. That it was steps towards atheism. When, almost all Christians throughout the history of Christianity have believed the earth was a globe.
Yeah, but they're only just one of those logical steps away, Jen. They're really close.
It doesn't make sense.
Albeit a geocentric globe.
It didn't make them atheists, believing the earth was a globe. Well, even a geocentric one. I mean, it just didn't lead
Still a
them to
fucking ball.
atheism.
That last part
Yeah,
there,
cool.
though, where he's saying, where he's almost dreading the sun setting.
Right.
He's like, well, then I'll prove all these assholes right. God damn it.
But he also said he can't ever say it's a globe because that means that then he's saying he can't have his own thoughts, and that whole diatribe that he had there where it, you know, it meant he wasn't thinking for himself and he'll never give up thinking for himself. But that's just an absurd position to take. He's just essentially saying
if you acknowledge the existence of the color blue, you don't think for yourself anymore
right,
or something.
Yeah, he's essentially saying if there's some established fact that everyone holds to be true, I need to reject it because everyone holds it to be true. You know, that's nuts. It's only ever going to lead you to false conclusions, isn't it?
I like the guy that said, oh, well, you know, if there's a 24-hour sun, that's just one piece of evidence. But we've got 99 other pieces of evidence that prove that it's not a globe. As if, like, all pieces of evidence are the same. Like, this piece of evidence that completely debunks any notion of a flat Earth. It would be like saying, yeah, okay, so they really have, you know, satellites in orbit and pictures from space. But that's just one piece of evidence. I mean, we still have, you know, the black swan.
Right.
We still have water as flat.
And it never occurs to them, this is what gets me, on finding out that they've been completely wrong about this fundamental thing, it never occurs to any of them that they might be wrong about some other stuff as well. It's all, no, we've got loads of other stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that you're
Except
wrong
you
about.
can't name any of them, really.
Okay, let's have some more.
Because he went from, we have hundreds, and then he's like, well, what hundreds? And he's like, well, maybe dozens.
Yeah, right. And then he went, we see too far, but they have refraction. Right, critical thinkers, a self-funded glober on the Antarctic trip. Before he set off, he had a hangout with another Aussie flat earther who gave his predictions for what the sun would do in Antarctica. Take a look.
Well, good question. I was a space junkie my whole life. I'm a science nerd, and space was one of my biggest things for my whole life. And then in 2020, along came COVID, and a lot of time spent sitting in front of the computer with Twitter and Facebook and all that, and started to see a few things, and I started to put a few things together from all different sources. There's no one source for any of this. It all comes from many different sources, and you have to put it together yourself, because we are deceived. We have all been deceived by certain people, and once you work that out, it all starts to fall into place. Anyway, with the flat earth is one aspect of all of the whole thing about the world we actually truly live in. And so to talk about the logical flatness, first of all, water is flat and level. Water doesn't curve. There can be no measurement of curve. It's not curving at all. That was one thing that got me. The other thing that got me when I saw it was crepuscular rays. Crepuscular, that word means late in the day, when the sun is that beautiful image of the sun shining through the clouds, and it looks like choirs of angels singing, you know, that beautiful image of the crepuscular rays. Well, you can't argue with the physics of light. So you trace a line, an imaginary line on all those crepuscular rays to their source. Well, how can that source be possibly 93 million miles away? It's not possible. You can't argue with physics like that. So you can't argue with the physics of water, and you can't argue with the physics of light. And so that was two of the things that really got me, and I started to think about, like, what? And then I found out that NASA literally fakes everything. Every single thing. And it's the 21st century space age now, apparently, and we don't have any real video footage of anything in space at all. There is none. All we've got is animations, CGI, movie effects, drawings, sketches, theories. That's it. We've got absolutely nothing.
So, of course, I'm going to disagree with you on all those things, but we won't talk about that now.
But no, I've tried to show you stuff like that by email, and you've refused to take the information in.
Well, that's not correct. I've refuted the information with evidence. But anyway, let's not get into this. We got to get the business at hand sorted out, which is the final experiment.
Final experiment is a beauty.
Yeah, and just quickly, what's your prediction for the sun in Antarctica?
My prediction for what the observers participating in the final experiment are going to observe from Union Glacier in Antarctica. It will get dark. The sun will set. You will have ordinary southern hemisphere daytime and nighttime summertime hours. That's my prediction.
Okay, I think that's fantastic. You've got a prediction.
I'm 100% on that prediction. I'm extremely confident of it. And in my, trying to apply logical thought to things, what if there's some kind of reflected sunlight that could come off the dome, which is what, because I know that there's a dome there. You don't think that yet, but you will. You know what a sundog is? Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
I think that is a phenomenon caused by the dome. It's the sunlight reflecting off the dome. And I believe the dome is made of ice and water. I don't know what it's made of, really. Like, how would I know? But that's what I think. And so I'm 100% confident that you are going to observe nighttime.
Okay, so you're going to be an active participant in our experiment, because
that's
I'm going
really cool. I can't wait.
I'm going to call you, assuming that we have internet and that should work. I'm going to call you from Union Glacier.
Yes, that's brilliant.
It will be 1 p.m. I'm going to try and call you as close as possible to 1 p.m., which is midnight in Union Glacier. And
1 p.m. afternoon here, yeah.
Yep. And you will be required to tell where the sun is in the sky, and I will be required to show you where the sun is in the sky at the same time.
Yeah, during the day, yes, certainly. So 1 p.m. it should be pretty much right over my head.
Yes. And in Antarctica, which is on the opposite side of Australia from even on your flat Earth map and even on the globe, it's on the opposite side. So according to you, it should be dark. Is that correct?
Yeah. At Union Glacier, you'll have daytime and you will have nighttime.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
I understand. Yes, what you're saying, yes.
Yes, but you'll have a certain number of hours of daytime.
Yeah.
And then the sun will set and you'll have a certain number of hours of nighttime, and then you'll have daytime again.
So a lot of people are going to want to know now, of course, what will happen if your 100% certainty turns out to be incorrect?
Well, I will come on your channel and admit that I'm wrong, of course. What else would I do?
I don't know. A lot of flat earthers will say, oh, it doesn't matter what the sun does, the earth is still flat.
Well, the final experiment is good because it proves it, certainly. like, doesn't it? If you observe a 24-hour sun in the southern pole, at the southern pole of the ball Earth in space that's orbiting around the sun, then that proves it, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yep, it proves it. Sorry, that was a bit slow, wasn't it? Didn't sound anywhere near as slow when you listen to it at double speed like I did in the edit.
Why does every flat earther, before they tell their flat earth story, always start with this? You know, I was like a sinner like you. I loved space and science, and I loved rockets. And
flat earth's a religion.
Every one of them,
yeah,
they all start with the same thing. It's just literally the same as the biblical, you know, I was a sinner like you, and now I'm saved.
Right.
Yeah.
All of the like big evangelicals will be like, I was once an atheist, I didn't believe.
Right.
All of them.
I think it was funny that he pointed out. I think it was funny he pointed out COVID was the reason why he switched over, and then right afterwards he said, you know, that he was deceived, but I think he misspoke and said diseased.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Why did that man sound like an older version of Merle?
Yeah, he did a bit, didn't he? Let me remind my very large audience this evening, it's good to see you. We're here every 2 weeks on a Sunday, so every other week. If you want to super chat the show, please do. It took me fucking ages I had to go through so many hours of crap for this. Or, better still, PayPal me. The link's in the description. And I'll get the money straight away, and I can spend it on my lovely Christmas. Anyway, that had to be said. So, shall we move on?
I just wanted to see an edit of that with the Always Sunny in theme put over it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess they've done that call, but I had my head buried in editing and stuff today, so I haven't really had time to watch any output from Antarctica today, so I've kind of got to catch up. So there'll be more of that in the next show. But anyway, Witsitt was in Earth Awakenings recently, where he had some big news to announce.
Yo. Hey. Yo. Okay. Very, very big show coming up. Okay. So that's good news. Good news. We also got bad news. Bad news is McToon is also going to be on the very big show. Okay.
Rogan?
So don't ask me what the show is, please. Okay. It's a debate. So someone said something about McToon's doing these experiments in Antarctica, and he came in here to discuss them. And that obviously this is like the globe narrative, that instead of them being addressed specifically, there was like an argument about it not really being an experiment and not, stuff like that. So does anyone know what these supposedly are? I mean, I can try to look into them tonight, but obviously I'm pretty busy. I need to know. It's tomorrow, so.
Yeah, so on his website, he has it's mctoon.net/TFE experiments or whatever. And then he has them all listed here. So it's there. And so 24-hour circling sun, local solar noon, 34 degrees elevation, local solar midnight, 13 degrees, 34 and 13 in the north and south is the globe prediction. And then the flat earth prediction, the sun will set, or the sun will be due north at local solar noon, northwest 6 hours later, due north 12 hours later, northeast 18 hours later. That's what he's saying a flat earth prediction is?
Oh, I'm not worried about the sun specifically. Because, I have no idea what the sun does. I'm just going in there to see what the sun does, and I'm not going to make any flat earth claims about what the sun does because I have no idea. I've seen some pretty interesting explanations already, but I'm saving that pursuit to figure out what could explain it or how it would work on a flat earth until I know for sure that it happens, So, the sun's the obvious one.
I'll just like list them in general. So he has like a magnetic field. So this one, he says he's going to be the properties of the magnetic field, and he's got like the field strength and the inclination. And then he has, looks like kind of a straw man, but he has a whole extra page on that one, the magnetic field one. He's got, and then there's this lighthouse one, from Punta Arenas. He's going to do a lighthouse observation. sunrise and sunset time and azimuth. So he's got all the, so he's basically sun and date, dateandtime.com is basically that one. And then he's got probably some straw man for the flat earth one there. Line of sight to Polaris. Obviously, he's going to say you can't see it on the globe prediction because of the curve of the Earth.
These are all so retarded.
He then strawmans you know what, a triangle from the south and just assumes it and says that you know the flat Earth should be able to see it. Star trails looking south. He's trying to say on a flat Earth they would all just be horizontal moving stars, whereas on the globe it's a rotating. The next one, the angular width of the sun. He's going to do a little angular size of the sun. He's got a whole all this and all that, which you can imagine what that is. Distance lines of latitude and longitude. We were just talking about that one. Celestial navigation. He's going to try to get a celestial fix or whatever as the globe prediction. He's just going to say the flat Earth doesn't have one. Dip of the horizon. He's going to do that with probably some various assumptions, I guess, when he's on the airplane or whatever. Then there's the weight variation. He's, I guess, bringing a scale. He's going to try to do the weight one. I don't know if you want me to keep going. Okay, GPS signals. He's going to try, I guess, just a little straw man about GPS there, that you can get a GPS fix, I guess. He's obviously stretching on these last ones. Eratosthenes, there he goes. Okay, you're going to stick a stick in the ground. Shadow length, he's going to just, that's another stick in the ground one. Sun directionometer. It says light-sensitive paper and a sundial type enclosure. So he's going to do something with basically a sundial and then also strawman and flat Earth. And then the moon phase, if it's visible. So those are pretty much all of them on his website there. Yeah, if you're going to do a thing with him tomorrow, then yeah, I don't know if he's going to bring all these up, or is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to know. Like, I'm not particularly worried about it, man. You know, obviously, like.
So it's like a last minute thing, and
it's
like a last minute thing, and he's actually going to be on it.
It's not too last minute. I mean, we found out about the idea like 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't solidified until yesterday.
Gotcha.
Or Sunday, yeah. And well, I'll tell you guys this. So, at first they were trying to get Mattoon on there to represent the globe, and then have someone else that doesn't like ever debate for flat Earth on there to represent flat Earth. So like a setup, you know, like where Mattoon's like obsessively developing all these narratives and constantly changing them based on whatever arguments we present or whatever refutations we present, like obsessively coming up with tactics to debate and all this. And then there's like another flat earther who's well known. I'm not gonna say his name right now, right? Because I don't know if he wants to be named, but who just makes good videos and specifically says, I don't debate. I don't think these debates are fruitful, whatever. And we're gonna try to get him on there. And I'm like, what the? Like, I'm actually going on the trip, and I'm like the guy that always debates, right? And then it was like, oh, well, you said that you would never debate Mattoon and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, well, obviously in a situation like this, there's an exception that would be made because like someone has to represent FE properly in this situation, right? So yeah, that's kind of the backstory. I mean, obviously I had no real say in whether or not I was going to be there. And Duffy was spearheading it in a way, which is why Mattoon's involved, because, you know, normally what happens is Mattoon is just obsessively stalking, trying to contact and find out wherever I'm going to be or whatever show I'm going to get on, and then like frantically and obsessively reach out to them, trying to say that they need to bring him on and stuff, right? So that wasn't the case with this one, though.
Yeah, he acts like he wasn't involved, like he wasn't planning on going the whole time. The way, and right when it was put in the contract where they have to be forthright about who's going before they or they break the contract, and all of a sudden they Mattoon all of a sudden decided to go. Like, who believes that? But I put in live text, man, and I'll DM it to you if you have time to check them. But like, you have one of these paperweight glasses, so if you put stars just going straight across the paper, like in a straight line, and you turn the dome upside down as if we were looking up at the apparent dome or whatever, it does make complete circles in the north and in the south. And then that's why I did the AE model. The AE model, if you center it anywhere except directly over a pole, you do get 2 rotations. So wherever you center it, it works for cell nav and everything, and they say it's a globe, but still, then they try and dog it at the same time. But so I made one centered close to the prime meridian at the equator, just to say, and showed the hourglass. I haven't put this video out yet, but I showed the hourglass or the paperweight with the stars going straight across, but making 2 circles. And that to me is about the closest thing, if there is 2 rotations. So you could bring up a couple of people's models, and you don't have to claim them as your own, but just ideas of what it could be on a flat Earth if there is 2 rotations. Just saying.
And then the other thing, speaking of intense and then the word tense, it sounds like Duffy said also, like, links to this is, and I'll just say the last thing here is that there's like he said ALE like set up like a camp for you guys. So does that mean that like McToon is going to be in a tent like right next to yours as well? Like it can't even be that you're going to have tents like on the other side of the whole place?
I don't know specifically about that, but I mean they seem to be pretty accommodating overall. Like I don't intend on interacting. Like what he's going to do is constantly try and like interact with us and well, I just know how it's all going to go. Really, like he's going to not keep that same energy at all. Every single time one of these people meet me in real life, they're like totally different, dude. Like timid, nervous. I mean, frankly, feminine. So I'm not like that's my prediction.
I've heard he's kind of a small guy. Like I think when David Weiss said he met him, that he was way smaller than he thought. Like he kind of thought he was going to be a bigger kind of guy, but actually he's kind of short and small. Apparently smaller of a dude. So you're probably going to be like taller and bigger than him.
Yes, because that's important when you're finding out the truth about the nature of reality, whether you're taller.
But God, he's going to try to interact with us.
But when you listen to, I don't know if
you beat somebody up.
I don't know if you listened to that Will Duffy thing that he did a couple of days ago when they had the orientation. Apparently, like MC Toon needed a talking to because, I mean, I don't know if it was Toon's fault, but there was definitely some animosity there that they had to like figure out how to contain.
Right.
Oh,
It seems
Witsitt
like,
didn't want
there's a lot of
anybody
whining
to film him.
It seems like there's a lot of whining going on the flat earthers side. Oh,
Well,
please don't let him say mean things to me.
His truth.
Witsitt didn't want him to film at any point in the whole trip.
Right.
I know. Who's the one being feminine now?
About it.
Right.
Exactly. And MC Toon is not tiny. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Oh no, please don't film me. Don't film me.
Such an incel thing to say that was, wasn't it? Frankly, feminine. It sounds like fucking Jordan Peterson or something. And Gio, who was telling me earlier that he loves everyone, thinks that they need to have tents that are on opposite sides of the campsite. Why? What does he think is going to happen?
Somebody might say something mean to them.
He's very scared.
Man, cooties, over cooties.
So stupid.
And Brian Leakey was
didn't
in there.
go anywhere near him.
Brian Leakey was in there with his paperweight and star trails, which reminded me of something I'd forgotten from Jeran's thing, where he said that's why they use star trails, so you can't check to see if the stars are different. What a knobhead.
That's why.
The only thing that paperwork proves is they don't understand what a circle is.
Right. It's just,
which is really, really sad.
Yeah.
Didn't you hear the arrogance in his voice, though? Where he's like, "I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the sun. It does what it does. I am worried about it."
Don't you think it's an act, though? Don't you think it's at least?
No.
I mean, I think
bravado.
I think he's profoundly arrogant. But I think, when he says, I'm not worried about it. Well, if you're in there asking them what these things are going to be, you clearly are worried about it.
Don't tell me.
It's your worry about it that caused this conversation to occur. Yeah. Okay, let's have a bit more from Witsitt in Geos now, including a big, fat, flat earth lie.
But it's like, dude, there's an entire group of people that align with us and like align with me on a ton of things. And even if they don't agree with flat Earth, okay? And so if there's two people, there's two sides, and one's like, yo, 2020, here's the truth of that. And they try to take away our freedom. They try to lock us down. This is not a prison. That was all orchestrated. It was planned years in advance. They released a bio weapon, blah, 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 blah. This is tyranny. We need to expose it. They're trying to push us to a technocratic digitalization, like a digitalized technocratic state. We need to expose it. Like, they're trying to sexualize our children. We need to stand up and expose it, right? They're trying to normalize pedophilia with a new term called minor attracted persons. We need to expose it. World War II was a lie. We need to expose it. Like, all these different lies, like there's fluoride in our water, and it's literally causing all kinds of major health issues, including attacking our children. We need to expose it. What they're doing to children right when they're born, and then they're mutilating them, all this stuff. We need to expose it. All these things. And they're going to align with all of that. NASA was started by literal Satanists, and whether you think Satanism is stupid and goofy and fake and not real, it doesn't matter. Just a fact, an objective fact is that there were people that think it's real and believe in it and were self-proclaimed Satanists that did seances and occultic rituals at the founding of NASA, literally. And so even though those people may not be with FE, if you start pointing that out, or how modern scientism is used as this method to control you, and it's really pseudoscience and totalitarianism disguised as science, where it's saying you can't question it, which is antithetical to science. And they're like, the Earth is 4.8 billion years old. You're insignificant. You're just made of stardust, and lightning struck primordial soup, and rocks turned into fish, and the fish jumped out of the water, and your ancestors are strawberry, and you're insignificant. You're tucked away in an insignificant corner, and it's all random, and it's chaotic, and there is no real moral objectivity, and you're meaningless. You're purposeless. Like, people know that is a tactic used. Scientism is being used same way with the bioweapon. So many people that know that they're hiding God, that they're hiding the truth of so many different things, and that the system is hiding behind this illusion of expertise in science, and it's all funded top down to where everyone kind of falls in line and pushes the propaganda. If you're the flat earther, but you recognize all of that, you speak out about all of that, then the other side, that's the globe earther, denies all of that, mocks people for all of that, defends the system's narrative with all of those situations. Like, that person's not just suddenly gonna align with the globe earther. They're just gonna be like, damn, like, how come where I fall on this subject, the only representative of it are these psychopaths that lie about everything else? Maybe there is something here that I'm like not allowing myself to see. And that was a big rant, I know, but the conclusion is that it's actually beneficial. Truth doesn't fear investigation. So it's like, in the end, when everything settles, like, truth is the last thing standing. I think everyone can, like, so, because I've talked to a few people that have been like, bro, you're not going to believe this, but I was the guy, I used to obsessively be in your chat talking about how much of a liar you were and how wrong you were for years, and like kept up with all your arguments, and then like went and watched like Mattoon and them and had all the counters and would say repeat all the narratives. And then at one point something just like clicked, and they re-examined everything and saw it a totally different way. So I've actually had I mean, not a ton, but a decent amount of people tell me that, which is crazy to think about, right? Like, thinking about, some of these people maybe in here or on these YouTube channels doing that seems kind of insane. But
how will we know if you come back and you're like, you've been replaced by like an alien with a Witsitt body? How will we know?
Okay, if I come back and I'm an alien, I don't know. I don't know any insurance policies.
We already know the answer.
Yeah, I've already given like specific.
Do not repeat it.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you start saying Earth is concave.
I've already said specific things I'll say that if I ever comes out of my mouth, then you know.
No, dude, it's like, this is like kind of like a movie plot level of just this whole thing. So it's like people get pretty like wild in the speculations of ideas, but whenever like crazy ideas like that come up, because I mean, dude, like, I just always say, like, obviously, like, I mean, I wish for your guys' best, like, safety and health, and be able to make the trip and have a really good time and all that. So all these ideas of like, oh, are they going to take you somewhere else or drug you or do this or that, or like replace you with a clone, or like, because yeah, obviously people are just like wild ideas, but at the same time, like, it is like, I mean, anything, I think there is the idea that they can compromise people where they would just like go up to you and be like, hey, you'll be in jail for life for whatever, if they just can go around the law, that whole idea, and then they would like offer you some deal, or even like in the worst case threaten your family and stuff like that. And I guess like in any thing in today's world. If you're in any way threatening the power structure, I guess in theory, that could happen, I guess, if you think they do that or whatever, if they do that and how they do it and whatever. But at the same time, like, then there's the question of like, okay, well then do you just give up on things or do you still do what's right and actually move forward?
Kind of felt the same way the whole time. Is like, the creator's in control. So, like if the trip wasn't, if there was something super sketchy or like that, I think that the creator would intervene and something would happen or whatever, so that's just kind of how I view it. I'm not just going to be, I'm not going to be really scared.
Like, I've always said like at least like maybe like 10% of people like may actually have some shift of their perspective, like if they're already somewhat on the fence, but it's going to bring so many new people into it that's going to like far outweigh anyone who does, you know what I mean, for like the overall numbers. So I can't see any way in which any numbers of like stationary planar Earth cosmology is going to decrease. Seems like it will only increase from the whole thing when you combine all of that.
But all I was going to say is the same thing I keep on saying, which is probably redundant by now, that looking up at the sun is not going to give us measurable curvature on the ground.
No, it's all good.
What they're going to say is like, we never said there's going to be a 24-hour sun.
But you don't think there's going to be one?
I know that's what they're going to respond with.
They're going to say, well, how could they say they never said there was one? They have to say there was one. What do you mean?
No, they're gonna just deny it like they did that the horizon was the curve of the Earth.
How could they deny if the sun doesn't do a full 24-hour motion?
I mean, they did it with the horizon.
Yeah, that's true. When Black Swan came out, they all switched it up. They threw the geometric horizon under the bus and dropped it like a bad habit. And they just acted like it's always been that way. Like
that's not true. That's not true.
It's very true.
That's not true.
100% true.
I don't know how long you've been within, around these Discord, servers, all of them that have come up and gone away, and even still there's some around. But years ago, like when I first got into it, started listening to Nathan Ugly way back then, the geometric horizon was your guys' ace up the fucking sleeve. And then you guys were like, that's what it is. And then Black Swan came out. And then they're like, okay, well, then let's use this mathematical equation you guys got. Boom, it's destroyed. That's why the globe Earth, that's why QE and Nathan jumped on the Black Swan, saying that is death. Like, what do you say? Bye-bye ball. Because it's no longer can be a ball. No, you can say
refraction.
No, you want.
Well, refraction's been part of the argument all along, ever since I've been.
That's not true.
Not at all, bro. You're wrong. Maybe you got
literally
to the
not
party
true.
late. You got to
I
the
said
party
ever
late
since
and
I've been here. I said ever since I've been here.
Oh, okay.
It changed. It did change. So, yeah, I don't know. Were you here in 2015, 16, 17?
2017, I think is when I came in.
Yeah, well, 15 and 16 was even different than 17 and 18. Yeah, because they caught on to a lot of things.
And it wasn't even mass adopted until like 19-ish into 20. Like
the Isle of Man, wasn't it?
It became like the standard response for all Globers, like 2019, 2020, when Black Swan was like really shoved up to the front. And I think that was 2020, but I don't remember. But that's when it became. Now, if there's someone that's new to the conversation, that's like the first thing that they learn to say. And that 100% was not the case before that, because I was just always shown like any picture of the horizon, like that's proof the Earth's a globe. We're looking at the curve right there. That's the actual curve. And it quickly turned into you never see the actual curve.
But it was the Isle of Man where it came in, wasn't it?
What APOC originally brought up is how they changed it, there was a change in there. So,
which is funny because that's not the narrative that the mainstream pushes. That's not the narrative that most of these Globers push now. Like, how does that jive with the fact that flat Earth is so stupid and easily disproven that these crazy, stupid flat Earthers somehow have made this allegedly thousands of year old knowledge base change and update? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And that absolutely did happen. I watched it happen, specifically with the geometric horizon, because this whole talking point that you never see the actual curve of the Earth, you never see the actual geometric horizon, that was the exact opposite of the original claim.
Right.
Yeah, and we
that was the curve. That was it.
Yep.
So
and
we
we
just
have
stuck it. They just showed it, and it was basically that kind of vibe. Like it was like the forceful remark is that is the curve, and then we had to spend years like even just debating on the basics of how that can't be the curve, And then finally they were like, oh yeah, you're right, it's not the curve.
Such a pack of lies. I included that because it just annoyed me so much.
I tried to stop him.
Yeah, I know you did, mate. Yeah, I mean, Witsitt, for a start, Witsitt wasn't even here in 2015. He didn't turn up till about 2019 or something, maybe 18. He wasn't even here at that time. But refraction, as you said, Left Lane, was the argument from the very, 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 very start, from the Chicago skyline stuff. People were saying, using refraction as an explanation for it. And then there was a girl who went and shot some video of Chicago as well. I can't remember her name. But again, they were talking about refraction then. I've got...
Wow.
I asked Mr. B because he's got a collection of old hangouts, and he looked out one for me where it was actually Negator who was talking about refraction, and that was back in 2016. So, and the Globebusters even used to have in their signature tune that clip of that weatherman saying, "It's a mirage," you know, and they had that for years, and that was years before the Black Swan. So this idea that the Black Swan came and we all just changed is just a complete pack of lies. And Witsitt conflated you never see the geometric horizon with you never see the curvature of the Earth. Those are two completely different things, I think. Anyway, does anybody else have anything to say after my...
Can you remind me again what Witsitt does for his day-to-day job that he wanted with Will Duffy to reimburse him? The guy that just complained about the world transforming to a digital technocracy?
He's day trading crypto.
Oh.
Yeah.
Participating in the digital technocracy.
Oh, well, I think he would probably see it as he's not doing that, you know? Crypto's free of control and all that. Of course, that's just a myth. It's not in any way.
Later on in the stream, that stream where you was recording Witsitt, later on, he did the little, poor pitiful me, I'm having to spend money I don't have. And of course, everybody was, hey, what's your Cash App? And, he jumped on it, giving him money.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was going to say, are we going to bring up the lie about that NASA was started by literal Satanists?
Oh, no.
I was just thinking about that one.
Well, I suppose they've got Jack Parsons, and he kind of extended it a bit. He said something like there were, what did he say? There were satanic rituals at the formation of NASA, or he kind of made it sound like
consulting.
He made it sound like that, didn't he? Like they actually did some sort of satanic ritual to start NASA. But they've got there's this meme out there that says NASA was formed by these people, and they're all and it's on the list is Walt Disney and what's his name, the Scientology guy.
L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, they've got him down as one of the founders of NASA. And a Satanist, of course. And of course, Jack Parsons, who died, I think, a decade before NASA was formed or something like that.
A bit weird, considering he famously started a religion that is not Satanism.
Right. Doesn't make any sense, does it?
Oh, what I found interesting about this whole thing going on right now is that Witsitt and I think it was Apocryphon talking about the possibility and considering the possibility that they might kill Witsitt and clone him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turn him into an alien.
Yeah. And now we're thinking about and talking about the other things they said.
I know.
Not a second of Witsitt, please don't.
We should start treating Witsitt like an alien from now on after he gets back. Just be like, oh, it's alien Witsitt. This is bullshit.
Has he actually said anything at all?
Yeah, he went on camera yesterday and sort of said he was wrong, at least about the sun part of it.
Okay, fair enough.
But you'll see some of the things he's going to say. Because next up is more Witsitt. Prior to the trip, Witsitt gave his take on what he expected to go down. Enjoy.
Now, here's kind of the whole thing with the trip, right? Obviously, the idea, and you can see here what I titled the stream, TFE, the first expedition. And you could say many different things. The first endeavor, the first experience, the first examination, you name it. I had a whole list of them. It's not final, because that obviously implies something being conclusive. And obviously, the group that's pushing this narrative that it is conclusive and definitively proves the globe is the same group of people who claim that sunsets do that. Okay, so cool story, bro, right? It obviously doesn't. The preponderance of evidence and falsification of the globe Earth model doesn't suddenly evaporate because we see the sun do something. We would definitely have to go back to the drawing board for some of our concepts. We would definitely have to make it all that it's going to do, right? If we see a 24-hour sun, then it's going to cause us to take a step forward with another data point, a valuable data point that helps us now know, okay, it could be so good for us to figure out what's going on. If that's the case, either way, right? Either we know it's not there or we know that it is there. The worst case scenario is that it's really cloudy and we can't see anything. But if we say we do see it, then we're like, okay, whatever is going on has to cause this phenomena. And that could potentially spark like this major kind of epiphany or revelation as to the nature of this realm, or maybe lean some credence to some people that have kind of been saying this for a year. Like flat philosophy has been saying you see 24-hour suns everywhere in the South for years. Okay, so just on its face, truth doesn't fear investigation, right? And only people that are dishonest, and this is much more common on the other side. I've seen stuff like this on all quote unquote sides, right? But the real sides are those who honestly just wants to know the truth. They're going to be transparent. They're going to be honest. And those who don't, and there's a bunch of people who seem to think that the ends justify the means. And so if you lie, it's okay, is because they think they're right. And so if they have to lie and deceive the audience, so they'll stay on that side. It's okay in the end, in the big picture, they're still, it's okay because they're keeping them where they think it is true that the Earth's a globe, for example. I hope that I'm not losing you guys. I also, like I said, did literally pull an all-nighter. Okay. This is what I want everyone to understand. Truth doesn't fear investigation no matter what. Okay. So obviously there was this whole narrative being spread about me that I was looking for since the beginning. I was looking for any way out, blah, blah, blah. I'll go ahead and tell you that I personally have spoken to many of the flat earthers that chose not to go. It has nothing to do with them not wanting to know. It has nothing to do with them being a grifter and trying to run away from it, because I talked to them and they told me why they didn't go. And when I explained my position, they strongly encouraged me to go. Okay. They just didn't trust the people putting it on. If they were going to go to Antarctica, they wanted to go with people that they trusted and no one else, right? They wanted to go with other truthers. They didn't want to go with people that are being deceptive and think that they're just so smooth and so slick that they're tricking the flat earthers because they're so naive and pretending that they're just good-hearted and all this and just curious because they actually have the intentions of humiliating flat earthers, right? And that is the case. Absolutely. 100%. It's the case. So they know that. And they're like, no, you're not going to play me. You're not going to do that. And I know that you're going to try to make a hit piece, etc. If you're not, and now we'll be able to do a longer duration stream here soon so I can talk about everything because I'm going to kind of do a hard cutoff in about 15 minutes or so. So that's why I'm kind of going fast. But I've obviously known that the whole time if you're not just now tuning in, right? We made it specific that there was a certain type of contract, etc. And people have been running this narrative the whole time that I'm a liar, I'm a grifter, I can't go to Antarctica because my lie will be up, my grift will be up, all this weirdo stuff. And it's like, none of that could be further from the truth, right? Merely on its face, the idea of going there and being able to actually observe it, and we will be doing a first, right? This will be the first time ever that let's say the 24-hour sun is a real phenomenon. This will be the first time ever people have gone there and like really documented it. What's the word I'm looking for? Thoroughly, or like very efficiently, like very thorough documentation. So we'll have multiple angles, we'll have infrared, we'll have different types of cameras, we'll have 360 cameras, we'll have outside views of the cameras, and the people working the cameras, right, will be able to use certain solar filters to maybe see the sunspots and all this different stuff. And nothing like that's ever been done. Like a super legitimate documentation of the quote unquote 24-hour sun in the south in Antarctica has never been done, right? And so, yeah, sure, you can find clips of me saying that's not true, right? You're conflating the 24-hour light with a 24-hour sun and being very adamant about it. And that's because so many people misrepresent it. They do that. They conflate it. They act like they know it. And I'm like, well, okay, prove it. And they share that same video that was later admitted to have been fraudulent and to be faked. But I have no problem if there's a 24-hour sun. This is the thing that people don't seem to get is I just want to know the truth. And tons of people that watch my channel, they just want to know the truth, right? And we have absolutely discovered that there is massive deception and confusion regarding the nature of where we live in cosmology. Absolutely, unequivocally, undoubtedly, undeniably, okay? Whether that goes from the occultic, deceptive origins of NASA to the lie of the moon landing to geocentrism being hidden, misrepresented, suppressed, and excluded based on philosophical grounds because, well, they just don't want there to be a creator. And of course, they prefer the Copernican principle, also known as the mediocrity principle. And then also that the math just doesn't add up when it comes to the alleged curvature of the Earth. Well, we falsified that, right? We have specular reflections. We have long distance observations. We have laser tests. We have mirror flashes. We have long distance microwave, radio waves actually guiding planes to successfully target enemies, right? Which, if the Earth were a globe, it wouldn't work. That's why the British turned it down, right? And on Timcast, Tim said, or just the Germans lied about it. What? No, like the British Intel are the ones that discovered what technology they were using. They reported it. Germans didn't come out and report it. They were using it as a secret weapon, and they did it continually and successfully, for like over a year. Now, not to get too sidetracked because we don't have all the time in the world. The point is that there's tons of evidence, and truth is on our side, and that's why there should be no one that's scared of anything going on here, right? And he who have little faith, as my boy Lion said in Discord, like why are you guys freaking out? And what was your position really as strong and thorough as you thought it was? If you're just freaking out about this. Now, for those people that are worried about my safety and are reaching out to me because they care about me, thank you so much. I love you. I really appreciate the sentiment. I believe in the creator. I 100% trust the creator. I know that the creator's in control, and I'll just let you guys know, okay? The creator's up to something. Absolutely. The creator's doing something. And I don't want to have to get too much into details here because I don't want there to be bad vibes. Well, let's just say there are people that are claiming involved in this trip, right, that are claiming to speak on behalf of the creator, and they're taking his scriptures and his word and they're flipping it upside down. And there are people involved in this trip that actively slander and try to humiliate and just actively try to hurt individuals. They slander them. They lie about them. Pathologically lie, right? Talk about people's wife and children and cross all kinds of immoral lines, are consistently just like terrible people, and they're sadists and all this stuff, right? That's on that side. People that deny any of those things I briefly listed off earlier, in terms of even like the satanic origins of NASA and the faked moon landing and geocentrism. They actually run away from all of the evidence about motion because they just simply can't even handle the conversation. Do you think that the creator is on their side? Because I can assure you guys, the creator is absolutely real. Okay. And the creator stands for truth. It's effectively the epitome of truth. Okay. So really step back. I'm going to try to paint this narrative to you here before I dip. I want you guys to realize that this is such a huge win for Flat Earth, no matter what happens. If we go there and it's cloudy, win for Flat Earth. If we go there and there's a 24-hour sun, win for Flat Earth. If we go there and the sun sets, win for Flat Earth. Okay? I've been pretty reserved on it because ironically, while everyone was pushing this narrative that I was afraid to go and that I was looking for any reason I could to get out, it was quite the opposite, right? I was doing everything I could to make sure that the basic protections and parameters needed to go intelligently and wisely were accomplished so that we actually could go.
He's such a bullshitter, isn't he? God, such a bullshitter. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it was early on, but can we get 3 cheers for the pom-pomderance of evidence?
The what? Oh, right. Yeah, he said an Antarctica video, he said it was admitted to be fraudulent and faked. That's just a lie.
Yeah, which video is that?
Right. I think he means the one where that looped and then they Will Duffy got the raw footage for it, the whole footage for it, where it wasn't looped. But I guess that's him saying, as they always do, you have to watch out for this word admitted, because they throw it in all over the place. And someone who's admitted to something is someone who's been accused of something and previously denied it. That's where you get to admitted, right? So nobody admitted anything to be fraudulent and fake. What a liar. And I've got one more. Hang on. The British turned it down with the radio directional system that the Germans used for bombing. And he's saying the British turned it down, presumably because we thought the Earth was a globe, but the Germans didn't somehow. But that isn't why they turned it down. They turned it down because they knew that it would be easy to block and to spoof. And that's why they didn't bother with it. And that's how they defended against it with the Germans.
Don't you know that the Germans offered it to the British to use against them, and they said, "Nah, you guys keep it."
The Pac West household, I guess. Went over by Fred, the dude that I usually pay the backflow to.
Is somebody hot, Mikey?
I don't know. Are you hot, Mikey?
But there's 2 more over here, percent.
Yeah.
Yes, it seems
Yeah. Bread and breakfast, some. The rest of them.
And then there was the 24-hour vid where he had a film or a loop of the 24-hour sun, but he had the intro was by a different camera, and then he had an outro by that second camera.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, look, it's like look, the mountain's different." I go, he had the video of the 24-hour. And it was lengthy, and he trimmed it down to a day. And then he filmed an intro days later. And they said, "Look, the snow on the mountain came and went." And it was just so obvious that one, he's got really close in front of a camera that's like up on the roof, and then it jumps to a different camera which is mounted on the motor drive, center on the roof. And they said, "Oh, look, see, it's all edited, it's all clipped around." I go, "Oh my God." They couldn't tell that an intro vid was not part of the 24.
Right. And of course, they're freaking out about the video from Antarctica now, aren't they? Claiming it's green screens and all sorts of nonsense.
Even and Duffy in his latest thing said even David Weiss downplayed that.
Right. Well, if even he's doing it, yeah. But they've got to really write off Jeran and Witsitt, haven't they, if they're going to go down that road? Because they'd have to be in on that, right? Anyway.
To be...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to be fair, some of those comments about green screens were made by at least this globe earther and probably others.
Right. Okay, 2 epic clips now featuring the king of flatty fuckwittery, our old friend Sleeping Warrior, here gathered together with Flatzoid and others for a massive coping session.
I was laughing this morning when I woke up. I saw Jeran and them were live at Argentina, and they were trying to look at the sunset, and it was totally off. The sunrise was totally off. Sorry, not sunset. Sunrise was totally off compared to what the globe says it should be.
Really?
Wow. All the globe arguments are, "Oh, but you must look at magnetic.
You must look at the math.
Look at the math.
Already falling apart now, and they're not even there yet.
See, the thing that that I realized this morning, because I said I gave my sunrise as well, and I was like, you know, it's weird. It was 5:30 in the morning. The sun rose about 5:15. Okay, and I am north. The sun wasn't even risen in Argentina yet. They more south than me.
Makes you
So
think.
so my sun rose before them in Argentina, which is further south.
Yeah, they'll
have a lot of problems here soon. And I don't think they were expecting Jeran to get out and look at sunsets and stuff and find out where the sun is even before they got there.
They'll have a math for it and say it's negligible. And he's not even going.
He's going, isn't he?
Oh, is he going? I thought he wasn't going.
No, Duffy's not going.
No, I didn't think so.
Dang it.
He gave his money up for Witsitt. Gave his spot up for Witsitt. But
So-
I think that was the plan in the beginning, though, because from the beginning it didn't sound like he was really going to go.
In my entire life, I've understood that most of the South American continent is in the Central Standard Time Zone of the United States. Lo and behold, it's midnight to them where they're at in South America, 2 hours ahead of me on East Coast time, which has never been the way. I mean, we can go woo-woo and call it Mandela or whatever, so they move the continent. But when you're doing a deception, you know, they do it from a cartographic standpoint and from a time zone standpoint. And I did not expect that to be such a bombshell last night that they were actually 2 hours ahead of us into the Atlantic Ocean in the time zones. So then we went through this whole rabbit hole last night. Weiss sent me down how time zones are all like, you've got squares, you've got meandering. It doesn't work on a till, doesn't work on a ball. And I think that was
That's why they have all the declinations, because they need to wingle in all those time discrepancies together. But I mean, I went on the live there, well, in the chat, and I told them, well, I'm more north than you guys. It was about 5:30 in the morning, and the sun rose at 5:15. The sun hasn't risen by them yet, and they more south than me. What does that tell you?
Weiss has got it down to a T now, where it's pretty much figured out. The reason there's more time zones in the south is because there's a lot further distance for the circuit to travel. You know, and he's called people in every continent and said, look up, is it at noon? I want to talk to you. Where's the sun at? Directly above. So he's got dots, you know, all over the Gleason projection, to where, well, we at least know that it's noon in this place at this time, and it does it every single time, right? So, like, I think this time zone thing is going to be bigger than even the illumination bit as far as this trip is concerned. I don't know, man. It's like Super Bowl for flat earthers this weekend, so, like, I'm super psyched.
Either they're going to go there, get the evidence, but then there's going to be an accident on the way home and they'll all die. I know that's morbid, but that's what I think is going to happen, because they can't allow this information to come out. Or they'll go there, or they'll say they're going there, but for some reason, the trip will not happen based on what happened with Greater Sapien. Regardless of whether Greater Sapien stole money or not, that trip did not happen. And reasons are irrelevant. The point was, we said it wouldn't happen. It did not happen. So based on that evidence that we've got so far, the trip will not happen, in my opinion, and they won't go. Because the problem they're going to have is establishing what is the direction that they're looking, because when you're that south, you can't see the North Star, and there is no South Star. You've only got the rotation of the sky, which they say is the South Pole, but you haven't got a way of knowing where North is, even if you can establish South. Because South has got to be 180 from North. You can't see North, so you're just assuming that that's 180 from North, because that must be the rotation in the pole. That's the Southern Pole. But the reality is, you have no idea whether that's true south or not, or magnetic south or not, because you don't know where north is. You would have to know where north is to be able to say, yeah, that is 180 from north. But in real world, I know that it's not, because declination wouldn't exist if it was.
This is the weather forecast for the next 14 days there. They're leaving on the 16th, Monday, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So when they get there, it's going to be overcast, hardly see the sun. Wednesday, they won't see the sun at all. No. Thursday, it's going to be cloudy. Friday, it's going to be cloudy. The last day, I think, is the Saturday, which might be sunny.
Huh.
No, but it's not. That's going to be the day after they
Might
leave.
be.
Hang on. Can I ask an obvious question here? I don't mean to be ignorant, but why are they not doing this over like Friday the 20th, Saturday the 21st, Sunday the 22nd? Because that's where the longest day is for them, right?
Yeah, the 21st is the solstice for us. It's a winter solstice for us, so that would be, I guess that's the summer solstice. Yeah, the 21st, that would be the ideal day to do it, for sure. Hey,
because all they'll say is you wouldn't expect to get a 24-hour sun. It wasn't the longest day, you moron. There's their out.
Yeah.
I don't think, I've got a feeling that they're not going to Antarctic itself. How do you know they're not going to? How do you know they're not just going to some island offshore somewhere?
You know, I mean, as long as there's a bit of ice, I'm sure they're not going to be able to tell the bloody difference.
How would they
So,
tell
like,
the difference, really, if they're
go a little west of there
Like
into
Space
another
Cadet,
ice shelf?
Yeah, like
that was
space
a good
cadets,
one.
exactly.
I've considered that when I first heard about it. I thought they're going to do one of two things. They're going to fake it so they think that they're in Antarctica, but they're really elsewhere. Is it possible that the guys that are looking with the compasses that are not real world compasses, they're on the phones? Is it possible that they might be set to a northern hemisphere or whatever, and that'll be their get out?
What's getting me is the weather. I don't think they really check the weather. Because if
No,
you're
they
looking
didn't,
at the
obviously.
weather, it's not going to help them at all.
The weather doesn't really matter, to be fair, though, because at night time, once it cools down and you've not got the effects of the biogeochemical cycle, you've not got all that moisture rising up, like all of that settles down at night time. But that won't stop you seeing that the sunlight where there shouldn't be sunlight if they're looking south, and it won't stop you from seeing the sun once at the point where it's supposed to be setting. It's not going to see because it's going to be right on the horizon. You'll still see roughly where it's coming from.
I think that's how they did it back in the day.
So who thinks that they're going to make this journey and get back safely?
I don't think they're going to make it. I think the weather's, they're going to say, sorry, the weather's too, unfortunately, you can't go fly out.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to make it either.
They're stuck there. Yeah, they're not going to leave.
They're not going to leave. I don't agree. I don't think they're going. I agree completely.
I don't think they're going either. That was always my initial.
I think they're going to, because a lot of the time I've seen this as well, because you also get people try from South Africa, where they go from Cape Town to, and a lot of the time they fly, their whole trip gets cancelled because of the weather, or it gets postponed. And if you're looking at the weather forecast now, it's actually quite bad. They might not be able to go.
You got your 24 time zones that go from north to south. That is the definition of time zones, right? And then if you look at it, if this is the Earth right here, you got everything's coming in. But when you tilt the Earth, the time zones are ruined. Look at this right here.
Yeah.
It's tilted. So this person in this time zone, 1, 2, 3, 4 time zones over, is at the same time of day in 4 hours difference. When you tilt it, time zones have to be tilted. The time zone should go on the day-night line. That right? As the day-night line moves around, you can keep drawing your lines. That's your time zone, but the Earth is tilted. Right? This is how they show us time zones, but that's not time zones unless the Earth was upright, 90 degrees.
Yeah, and it's not. It's tilted, as you said.
Yeah. Those are time zones.
What I saw this morning when Jeran and them were looking at that part of light, and they were looking directly south, I'm like, for me, it's 5:15 in the morning. Okay, I'm 5 hours ahead of them, but I'm more northerly than them. Okay, I'm about here. Okay, so I'm way northern than them, and the sun rises quicker for me than them.
Just unbelievable, isn't it? Just
Unfair.
God,
that's unfair.
how
Too much
stupid.
Yeah.
So
I
much.
couldn't stop laughing on the tilted time zone.
I mean, but at least David Weiss, he almost started to understand. That's right. The Terminator line is not north-south. He's getting close to it.
Right, yeah. But just
It'll probably take him 5 years to figure it out.
so dumb that he thinks that time zones are dependent upon it. And just no.
How many lines at Skylink?
And Flatzoid's looking at the globe, and he's showing the bloody ocean in between the two countries and wondering why the sun sets early for him farther east. Amazing.
it just listening to them jibber jabber around with time zones, completely insignificant. The one thing the Gleason map is for longitude and sun, by sun and Greenwich time. I mean, it was just bizarro to see them act like such children. You won't be able to tell where south is. Give me a break.
It's if the only way that anyone can possibly tell where north is by looking at Polaris. That's what he seemed to be saying.
There's no problem. Yeah, there's no problem finding south. Just like you use the exact same methods finding north as you do finding south.
Right, just so nuts, wasn't it? Oh, they're not going to make it. They're all going to die. And then, of course, Flatzoid had the weather for the South Pole, where they're 700 miles away from, because he hasn't figured that out. Didn't figure out that Will Duffy was going either. Just so disconnected from the thing that they making all these comments on. Just not got a clue, have they? And then he's going, you looked at that weather forecast, there's a bit of cloud there. Oh, I think they won't be able to go because the weather's so bad. I mean, it just...
Also, that was the South Pole forecast.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, desperate. All right, shall we have a bit more of that? Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say stupid, not desperate. But yes, I want more of that.
Good. More from Fatty and Friends now.
Did you notice the one line coming from the UK? Like, it was an impossible route, and it doesn't even make sense on a globe.
Oh, yeah. This one.
Like, what
red one? Yeah.
And don't you guys find it strange that all the Globers had shorter flights and got there a day before everyone else? They
Weird.
Got there 24 hours before them, like a little powwow, little meeting.
I mean, wouldn't it also make more sense on a globe just to go down this way and then that way?
Yeah. So this is just another thing that they're going to use, or like we gave them tracking, the flat earthers, and we showed where everyone was in real time. So they're just putting together so many things. And then Duffy, this is, tell me what you guys think about this, because I think that the sun simulator is a friggin' red herring. I think it's bullshit. I think it's just to make people look down the wrong path. I think they might have technology to project the sun into the sky. And then I'm thinking, I just think it's a possibility that you can't rule it out. Okay. Because think about this. You ever been to a planetarium? It looks like if you were knocked out cold and woke up in a planetarium and told that you're on the top of a mountain, you might believe it. Yeah. Duffy has been, I 100% think the guy is broke. He's in big trouble and he's been put up to this, but that's me, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. He's a preacher and he should have a sense for the human spirit. Look who he's surrounded himself by. He's got McToon, McKeegan, Simon Dan, Professor Dave. And now all of a sudden he's friends with Danny Faulkner. Right, Danny Faulkner, the guy that that's a liar. We literally educated him on what flat Earth isn't, and then he writes a book called "Flat Earth Dead Wrong" with a disc floating on the cover.
But that's the thing. Okay. But that's the thing with Danny Faulkner. He's the king of straw manning.
I think he's a fake preacher. I think he's a pseudo preacher. I think he's broke. His credit card bounced when he paid for Joe Hill's hotel, and. Wow. And, he's got another $500,000 in fines coming up against him, but he doesn't care. But meanwhile, he needs to do a GoFundMe to get Elizabeth to go, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care about the $500,000 and possible jail time. All he cares about is settling this debate.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing to me seems as it's a money-making grip.
It's a get-out-of-jail-free card is what it is, and money-making, yes.
Dave,
those guys are going to freeze. It's going to be 20 below zero Fahrenheit. Okay, they're going to have such a hard time just surviving, let alone filming. Oh, and how about this? They get there, and Duffy goes, "Oh, by the way, you could have brought an extra suitcase, another 55 pounds."
No shit.
Yeah. But they didn't tell him that ahead of time because they might have brought a hydrogen alpha telescope or something like that, something that could really do some damage to what they're seeing.
Let me ask you, I've not been paying attention until just like literally tonight, but for me, this trip's not even going to happen. Do you think this trip's going to happen? And if so, what do you think is going to be the result?
So this morning when I was talking to them, they said that there's snow in the forecast. They haven't had any sun, and they might be delayed a couple days. So it would be amazing if they never got to Antarctica. Wouldn't that be funny?
Do you remember because we were looking before you came in now, we were looking at the weather forecast, and right through until before they leave, it's just overcast.
Do you remember Greater Sapien and how we raised $20,000 and that trip did not happen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, regardless of whether he stole it or not, the trip did not happen, right?
But
and
Anthony,
on that evidence, that's the only evidence that we've got. Yeah. So on that evidence, that my prediction is this trip will not happen. And if it does happen, there's going to be one of those. And I don't want to be morbid, and forgive me for being morbid, but there's going to be some kind of light aircraft disaster because they can't come back with that evidence in my book.
An aircraft disaster would bring that is they don't want that. That's not good for the globe. It's not good. That would be worldwide attention, and those guys.
That's martyrdom. That's martyrdom.
They'd be martyrs, and they don't want that. Everyone, I have zero fear of anything bad happening to them. Is it going to be canceled? Are they going to get there? It's just going to be snowing. They're going to freeze their butts off. Are they going to claim, well, it was light the whole time, and we did see the sun behind the clouds, right? That's easily faked. I mean, and they'll just run with that story, and the mainstream will go, flat earthers didn't want to be filmed, and they deny daylight and blah 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 blah. They could say everything they want. That's likely. I am of the belief that they have the ability to project. They're in an amphitheater down there. When they're facing south, they're facing the dome. They've got a little theater. They've got a planetarium ceiling to project on.
Yeah. No, I mean that's
I got you. Yeah.
I mean it's more likely there than anywhere else. I mean that's a good.
But here's the thing, though, Dave. I listen to what you
and wait, last thing though. Don't forget what you're going to say, Anthony. The Duffy on his last video goes, "Oh, they're talking about a fake sun held up by a helicopter or a balloon or something." No, we're not saying that. I'm saying they could project. That's my idea. I could be totally wrong. I hope I'm totally wrong. But if they do it, it'll probably fail. We'll probably see through it. Okay? But it could be quite convincing.
If they can give a just so story for how 3 buildings can collapse within their own footprint using only 2 planes, and that just so story...
7 buildings.
Yeah,
right.
All they need to do is provide a just so story, and it might be something as simple as the pilot miscalculated how much fuel he needed, and they never made it back. Something as stupid as that, but people will believe it.
Yeah.
Hey, Flatzoid, what's your take? What do you think is going to be the outcome? We all agree that they're up to no good, and whether it's canceled, snowy, faking, what do you think is going to happen?
I still think more. I don't think they're going to go. Something's going to happen that they can't end up going.
Yeah.
But if they do go, they're not going to observe anything.
I'm on the fence right now of, that they get there, that they'll probably get there, and it's just cloudy and snowy and miserable the whole time, and they don't see anything. It's inconclusive. That's number one. I'm 50-50 on that, or hazy, sun through the clouds, and it's faked. Now, you can fake a sun through the clouds. Jeran even agrees that. You can fake a sun where you can't see the details, and we can all agree on that. I think they can fake a sun with sunspots, okay? But that's just me. So I think it's going to be somewhere in there, and I think it's going to fail.
I was going to ask you that. Do you know whether they've taken any sun filters with them?
Oh, of course, they got sun filters. They got infrared. They got one that can see through the clouds. Whatever that one is.
That's the infrared one, I think.
Yeah, infrared, and then they've got a IR converted P1000.
If they're as smart as I think they are, I think my prediction is they've already made their observation. It's done already.
So I think it's already done. I don't think they even need to go. If they're looking southerly, I saw the snip last night where they were looking at the horizon and they were seeing that there was light there, but no sun, obviously, and that was in a southerly direction. That to me is just game over for the globe, because it's got to be northerly. It can't be southerly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not remember when I think it was the Cook expeditions that were trying to go circumnavigate the whole of Antarctica, and it took them, instead of it taking 4 or 5 weeks, it took them 7 or 8 months and used 10 times more fuel than what they were expecting. They've kind of done that with boats. I mean, yeah, they should do it with planes, But they're never going to do that because they'll just say they don't need to prove it. It's already proven.
I've always said it from the start. I don't think they're going to make it for some reason. I've always said it's underhanded. I don't think they're going to go. I think something's got to happen where they're going to say they can't go. Or if they do go, no matter what, they have to come back and say that there's a 24-hour sun.
I gotta throw one thing out there. Anyone that's saying that Jeran and Austin are going to come back and they're going to be compromised, paid off, or anything is out of their fucking minds. Okay, you're out of your fucking mind. It ain't going to happen. There's 0% chance. He already has code words that he's given us that if he says this, he's compromised. Okay, he's already told us. So there's 0% chance that that's going to happen. Right? Zero. Now, one of the other options down there, they get down there, they scopolamine them, they freaking torture them, they replace them with clones. Who the hell knows, right? I think that is on the bottom. That's right next to airplane crash. Okay, they run out of fuel, right? I don't think those things are going to happen.
I think that if they do get there, I think the airplane crash scenario is very likely, if I'm honest.
Yeah, very likely, Anthony. Let's hope they don't now. I don't want to tempt fate. I'm touching wood.
So Jeran's code word for being compromised is interesting.
So not only is it not going to happen, they have a conspiracy in place to explain it if it does happen.
Right.
And where did Weiss get that idea that they didn't have enough allowance to bring a hydrogen telescope? Those are like 3 pounds.
He says they're 150.
Yeah, he thinks they're 150 pounds for some reason.
The telescope is as big as you want it to be. Just bring a small one.
Right, well, he thinks a really big one will reveal something, but he doesn't know what, of course. But they definitely needed to have one. And that was kind of the nature of their thing. I mean, as we heard earlier, MC2 had got all these, I think there were 17 experiments or something that they were doing. And that lot hadn't got a fucking clue, as we're going to shortly see.
Yeah, forgetting the fact that it's the world's largest desert, he both said they're in a planetarium and it's going to snow at the same time. So I don't understand.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, MC Toon said he's probably going to get a Star Trail time lapse while he's there.
All right, cool. How's he going to do that?
He did that in Chile when they were in Punta Arenas.
Oh, right, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. And another thing that Weiss said, he said it would be amazing if they never got to Antarctica. I mean, he's supposed to be a truth seeker, you know.
I think they were going to take a prop plane or something instead of a 757.
Yeah,
I mean, stupid.
Riley said, I think there'll be some sort of light aircraft disaster, didn't he? He thinks
yeah,
going in a light aircraft. And yeah, it could be a planetarium ceiling, he said as well. Oh, and another one of Riley's pearlers was when he started talking about Captain Cook and how he used 10 times more fuel than he expected to, traveling around Antarctica.
In a sailboat.
Yeah. Brilliant. All right, let's move on. Well, as we all know, they made it to Antarctica. But as you can imagine, with a gang of flatties and a gang of globers spending time together, it wasn't all plain sailing. Here is Will to tell us more.
Just a little moment of transparency here. We had an issue today. We had an orientation at ALE's office here in Punta Arenas. And it was awesome. The orientation was great. They prepped us. We watched videos. They talked about how everything's going to go down over the next couple of days because the process of flying to Antarctica is not like catching a plane, a routine plane, where you leave your house a couple hours before your flight. The process starts a day in advance. So tomorrow we'll begin our process for our flight, with our luggage, getting everything ready to go. And so anyway, orientation was great. After the orientation, that's when things went south. It's discouraging for me. I'm very tired, as you guys can imagine. I have been working on this for over a year, And now that we're here at the very end, we're talking, you know, I can see the finish line. I didn't really see this coming, but many of you probably already know what I'm about to say, and that's fine. I'm not as intimately involved with these circles. I'm just not. I came in here with a goal and a purpose and a mission, and I try to be a finisher, and so that's what I'm going to do. But I'm just not that intimately involved. And so the reality is there's a bit of a bigger beef between Austin and Jeran and MC Toon than I was aware of. And that came to light after the orientation, and I'm glad it did. Don't get me wrong. This was definitely a down point, a negative for the trip and for TFE as a whole. But I'm really glad that it was aired out and brought to the surface so that we could talk about it. And we had a very long, heated discussion about it. And the reality is, I'm glad this happened prior to us going to Antarctica. And I think it's going to help things moving forward. But there's, you know, fears based on past actions, and everyone's just looking out for themselves, which is fine. That's what we need to do and what we should do. And so there were some agreements made, which I think are very beneficial. So, for example, Austin and Jeran were concerned that MC Toon was going to film them without their permission and try to humiliate them. Now, again, we can't ever know someone's motives. I don't know MC Toon's motives. I also don't know the future, but that's their concern. And that's their concern based on things that have happened and transpired in the past. And so right there and then I, you know, asked MC Toon, I said, hey, you know, can you respect their request and not film them unless you have their permission first? And he said yes, and they seemed happy with that. But then as the conversation progressed, they were worried that he would, you know, put things on his channel or, you know, get permission from them to film them and then put that on his channel in a way that they wouldn't like. And so I asked him for another favor just to kind of help us all come together as a team here. And I just said, hey, can you, you know, before you put anything on your channel afterward, can you run it by them first? And he said yes. And so everything really kind of, you know, calmed down after that, which was great. I do feel like that was something that needed to happen. When these things are pent up inside, it just makes interactions and this whole, you know, trip have this underlying thing that just makes it awkward for everyone. And so now it's out. It's out in the air. It's out in the open. They had an opportunity to discuss it, and commitments were made, which I think are not too big of an ask. And so I'm very happy now. And so we're actually going to go all have a team dinner right now, which I'm looking forward to. Mark Herman just got here finally. He's been a world traveler, got here from London. And so he's going to be joining us as well, which is super exciting. And yeah, tomorrow is kind of the countdown where we're really going to start to pack everything up, get our luggage to ALE, start to get paperwork, and start to charge all of our devices to make sure we all have full batteries before we depart on Saturday on that flight. So anyway, I just wanted to be real with everybody, be transparent with everybody, and just kind of give everyone an update as to what is happening down here, because I'm sure you're all very curious as to what's going on. And so that's what happened today, and it was, while a bummer, I think, going to make things better going forward. So I'll keep everyone updated as often as I can, and thanks for all the encouragement. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so they had a little ruckus, but they got it sorted out.
Yeah, this is sort of tangential to that, but earlier on they showed the flight from London, saying it didn't make any sense. And they sort of showed an almost perfect geodesic.
Oh no, I thought that. What was he talking about? It was. He said it was. What did he say? It was an impossible.
Out of the way.
He said, I think he said it was in. I wrote it down actually. Hang on, let me find out what he said.
Almost, I think he said almost impossible, but again, he showed it and it was almost perfect.
Right, I thought that it was just ridiculous, wasn't it? What is he on about? Oh.
And the other thing goes to show you they don't know what a geodesic is on the globe with, and think it's on a Mercator projection still. I think.
And in the previous one where they said, why didn't they go on the 21st? Well, because they went on a previously scheduled tourist junket. It wasn't a charter.
Yeah, he said it was an impossible flight that didn't even make sense on a globe. Oh, not bad.
That's because they never. That's why they don't understand the sun being in the south, because they look at a Mercator instead of a globe.
Right. Yeah, Riley was very confused, wasn't he?
Yeah, even when they're looking at a globe.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so they made it to Punta Arenas, and the flatties immediately hit the streets to debunk the globe using their well-planned set of experiments. Take a look.
So it's 12 o'clock here, okay? The sun, okay, it was light until after 10 o'clock. We were eating lunch. It was still like bright outside, 10 p.m., right? Okay, it's midnight now. It's gotten dark and like actually pretty cold. Anyway, so we're in the hotel and we're looking out the window. Our window is like facing the water and it's facing south. And the whole sky is pitch black, but if you look south, the sky is lit up. The sky is lit up in the south, but not in any other direction.
And I think I'm going to bring up, this is the GPS unit that.
Okay, so let's break it down. So
Wolfie gave
obviously
us.
the idea, if you look at the AE map, right, you got the sun will be moving in a circle. It's actually going to be going north at this point.
That way.
But according to the globe's going to predict that the sun's actually over there south. It's going to be over towards the south. In theory, if we were to like, I don't know, maybe hop in a plane and start flying that way, we would see the sun start to rise up, right? Now, if there was like a container and there was light wrapped around the edge, then we would still see what we're seeing right now, which is just like a lit up like rim along the south.
Yeah, it always comes down to the sun.
So it comes down to the sun. Yeah, I'll drop a picture.
So south is definitely that way. What? Why does it keep going out? Hold on, this GPS is losing its light.
My iPhone compass was saying something different than hers. The mechanical compass is saying different than both of them, but they're both in the same
Okay, well, let me
general
get this GPS.
southern direction. All compasses are reading different. All like anything magnetic related is acting super weird out here.
It's a lack of magnetic emanation in the south. We said it. There's no South Pole.
Okay, now this one's coming up.
Right, so she has you don't have your southern compass on you, do you? Okay.
Go grab it.
No, don't go grab it. We do have a southern compass with us.
Hold on, this is the GPS. Although it changes when I start moving.
GPS is saying west.
Yeah, it's showing that this is south behind us.
Oh, but little
Wait, let me walk a little bit. See, now it moves. See, now it's moving. It's one, and then it goes off. This is the thing that pissed me off. It's saying like that's south there. Is that where you guys have it? You have the mechanical one. Yeah, there it is.
The compass doesn't match the needle at all.
Yeah, it's south.
Well, you're saying that, but that's just the same general direction, right? You were just pointing there.
Yeah. So far, we don't have anything. That's what we're saying. That's the whole
All
point.
the compasses don't match each other.
Get this one.
What GPS was saying something way off. Did it change?
It's weird though. This GPS only starts working when you start moving with it. Let me figure it out though.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me guess. The globe predicts that no compasses work. Just trust me, bro.
But even if I lay it here, it's still going to be the same readings.
It's like dead south, southwest.
Yeah, but the
That's literally-
iPhone would be the most deceptive of the readings. This is actively corrected, right?
So why does this thing say northwest in the
Yeah,
upper
like-
right?
Oh, so you guys also know, like recently you had two iPhones side by side and they're reading like 7 degrees different.
Okay. So
Anybody
let's
know?
look for the sun.
Where's the sun right now for us?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look.
They're asking you to grab the
Okay, the sun is right here, supposedly.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So if you were to also post a compass, then it's going to be a little bit over 180.
Can you like fast forward or rewind time in there?
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
See like where it's set.
Where it's set, so I got to go backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
see where it was just going.
Got to do it a little. Got to do a little. Okay. Got to
Well,
follow
it's
it.
literally not doing that.
And then we.
So it's set this way.
Then we pause right there, right? Because that would be sunset.
So
Oh, the sunset from over there.
Yeah, the sunset from over there.
Okay.
the needle is totally dragging. I don't know if you can see it. It's terrible to go live on the iPhone. It's terrible. If you can see the north needle's like way up high. You can see that. Can you see that?
Oh, snap. Okay. Yeah.
If you guys can see that. It's hard to see, but the north needle is. Isn't it? You hold it. Tell me if you think it's dragging. It definitely looks like the needle could be broken, or it clearly is like dragging.
Yeah.
The white end is dragging. The red end is like way up in the. Yeah, kind of hard to see on the camera.
Is it like affected by our phones somehow?
I don't know.
Because if I post it away, it's kind of chilling and it's still just as windy. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe. Yo, actually, yeah. The closer you get with your phone, you see it starts messing.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah. You gotta
Totally
keep your
does.
phone your way. Okay, so there we go. Keep our phones away.
Oh, that's much better. Now it settles.
We got a few days before we.
If you put your phone to watch this.
Literally.
Like pushes that all the way up. That's crazy.
Wow.
You see the difference it makes?
Yeah, they're talking about it on here.
Yeah. Do it again.
This is supposed to be a pretty good mechanical.
Yeah, it's like $100. When DP level. Thank her for it. Okay, ready? So that's pretty simple.
Metal's gonna affect it.
Oh, it makes it go crazy.
You can make it go all the way
You guys
around.
put both of your phones up to it.
Well, it makes sense if it's
So then me trying with the GPS unit is why it didn't work.
Oh, aren't they sweet? They're
Oh
discovering.
my.
This is what happens when you don't know anything about the tools you're using.
Right. And you haven't
Normal
thought
people-
about it. You haven't. I mean, I bet you that GPS thing has a setting on it to stop it from turning off every few seconds.
It's like the
Or he
GPS.
had- or he had low
where I'm
batteries.
going. When I'm not
Or he had
going
low batteries.
I've got a laser tape thing, a laser measure thing that does that. Switches itself off after a few seconds, but it has a setting to stop it from doing that.
Also, those cheap GPS receivers, they don't have a compass in them. They show your heading based off your movement. So he keeps walking off towards the side. Of course, it shows west. He
Right.
never walked south with it.
I was saying,
and then-
it didn't know. It doesn't know where he's going when he's not going anywhere.
And putting the phone next to the compass messed up the compass. Like they couldn't figure that out.
Right.
Well, they finally got it at the end.
Yeah, she got them on that one.
That's brand new science, Larry. Did you know that you couldn't put a phone near a compass?
Well, Witsitt came up with, let me guess, compasses just don't work in that area. Trust me, bro. No,
look,
you're a
the
thick
south-
cunt. That's what happened in
Yeah.
this area.
Or the north end was way up in the sky.
And there's been so much discussion on the balancing of a compass needle to where they're, you buy them for the zone you're going to be traveling to. And in all that time, they just go to the camping store and just get, an off-the-shelf compass without any consideration of all the conversation about balancing a compass for the latitude you're at.
Right. Yeah. Apparently, didn't they go and try and buy one? They said they said it in one thing. There were a load of marine stores around there, and they were going to go and try and buy one. And I think a sextant as well. Although I don't think they know why they were getting it. They were just getting it.
They might have said they were getting it to get more money.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's kind of a tourist town, so I doubt if they're going to be having, navigation equipment, which is kind of obsolete because everyone's using GPS.
Right. Yeah.
But definitely Lisbeth's a Poe. She was the one who figured everything out. So
Yeah.
she's clearly
Okay, more flatty scientific endeavours from Punta Arenas now, where Witsitt establishes the shape of the Earth using push-ups. Press
everyone.
ups, whatever they're called.
You excited about tomorrow? Oh yeah. It's gonna be here before we know. We got to get up super early. And excited. Should be fun. We're looking forward to it. There's a tune distracting. Oh no, he's gone.
We're live.
We're live. Say hi to everybody.
Hey guys, how'd they get a new
We were gonna.
mechanical compass?
Awesome, we got a new one of those. We were gonna do the sunset, but the clouds said no. They said no. She's like, Jeran, did you take observations with a gyro on the with a gyro? Yeah, I just strung up the gyro on the plane. Lay down. I did that. No, we did not take observations with a gyro. I'm assuming you'd have to get one that's motorized, that is platformed, that is somehow connected to the plane. How would you do all that? Jeran, as it that random one guy who is not with your party, is he well built, as I suspect he would be to be Will's security? You could tell that he did not know Will. In fact, you could look him up. His name is J.G. Scholes without a T. He's the only other guy going on the trip. He says he's going to ski. And then he was like getting all smart ass, like, I certainly didn't. I'm certainly not going to see that the Earth's a sphere. So, that kind of guy. Love what you're doing. Just FYI, there are handheld portable gyroscopes. Yeah, no shit. That spin for how long, my friend? Do you think gyroscopes spin forever? We'll just zim it up and then just fly for 10 hours and the thing just keeps spinning? Is that what you think? So just I hate to tell you, bro. There's handheld portable gyroscopes that need what? They need some sort of a device to keep them spinning. They need some sort of counterbalance weight. They can't be jostled around in the airplane. They would have to be attached to the frame of the plane. It's not just easy to just use a gyroscope for 10 hours.
Everyone at dinner, when I said, yo, guys, look at the water, look how high it looks, everyone was like, whoa, that's crazy. It was like noticeably looked like it was really high in the sky with us, okay? And guess what? When I pointed out, yeah, well, that's obviously because of perspective, okay? And then there was a couple chuckles, and I said, I mean, like, if the Earth's a ball and it's curving down and away from me in all directions, but we're going higher, and then the horizon's coming up with us, it has to be because of perspective, because perspective makes the ground ramp up. Which, why would it not? It makes railroad tracks converge, flip it on their side. It makes the clouds look like they're going down. It's just what perspective does. Okay, it's what it does to street lights. It does it to everything in the world, okay? So if it's a globe, you'd have to say, well, yeah, it's actually going down and away from you, but perspective is making it look like it's coming up. And McToon said, yeah, every glober says that. That's what McToon said. He said, he acted like I was lying and said, no one says that it doesn't rise when you increase. Guess what? We got the globers right here saying, long story short, the horizon doesn't rise. That's what you guys think. Why have you ever been in a plane, bro? Get in a plane, bro. The horizon rises with you, objectively, factually. What are you going to do right now? You're going to move the goalpost and you're going to say, oh, but it doesn't rise all the way to eye level. Okay, well, one step at a time, bro. Admit that it rises. And then we'll talk about how, yeah, of course, because it's the ground that's appearing to ramp up and converge, and then we're above the ground. Believe it or not, on a flat Earth, when you go up above the ground, you're still going above the ground. Okay, rant over. I just think it's funny that you guys it's just kind of embarrassing. I was trying to tell them guys earlier, dude, let's say hypothetically the Earth was a globe. The glober's inability to acknowledge basic things and the fact that they hide and lie about so many things is why there would be flat earthers. Dude, I will readily admit I was wrong. I thought that there wasn't going to be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So if we see it, I'll be like, yo, turns out that there is one.
Clown on you.
And to be fair, I never said I knew definitively. My whole point the whole time was like, we can't go there to freely and privately explore. I don't know what it does. And I think it's weird. I've known some people that worked for NASA that were down there said they didn't see it, right? All the footage seems to be faked or questionable, and the webcam's cut out for 8 hours. So like we don't have sufficient evidence to know. I don't just believe it. Looks like maybe it doesn't do that.
That's gonna be insane.
Dude, these people are so funny. They're so salty. Look, Jeran, it's like, ha ha. It's so good that flat Earth is gonna be dead. Ha ha ha. LOL. What's it? Bro. You guys told me that flat Earth was dead this whole last 2 years, and guess what? A bunch of globers collectively just spent $500,000 to cater to an observation that we wanted to make.
Thank you. I like what.
I just think this is so funny because
again, if
you guys are gonna get so triggered when I double down harder than ever on flat Earth. You're gonna get so triggered.
Let me have one of those. Oh, wait, let me mute up real quick.
They said flat Earth was dead for so long, bro. They've been telling me that for so many years. And the reality is, it's bigger than ever. I get contacted by military personnel, military contractors that own businesses that create technology that literally prove the earth is flat and stationary. I get contacted by athletes and actors and musicians and physicists, astrophysicists, literal astrophysicists from Harvard, PhDs in astronomy, you name it, that say that the earth is flat, bro, that they say we were lied to about cosmology. Okay. That has happened more in the last 2 years and specifically the last 6 months than ever before. Okay. The creator's doing something, and you should just be super excited because we're going against a side that lies, slanders, enjoys humiliating people, enjoys attacking people, will never concede, like plays defense attorney for the super evil beast system that lies about everything. Same kind of people that would defend putting fluoride in children's water to make formula that like kills them, that inject. Instead of just going, my point is the creator is always going to support the side of the people that speak and speak truth unequivocally and that get attacked for it. Okay. So the creator is obviously doing something. He's doing something right now. So if you truly know there's a creator, you should be like, this is so cool. We get to experience history in a moment of time that no one in the history of Earth that we know about has been able to really go and truly try to verify it the way that we're doing and making the measurements and readings that we're making. It doesn't exist ever. If you had told a flat earther in 1800 that they could go fly out and make all these cool, super cool measurements of what goes on in Antarctica in terms of the sun, they would have been ecstatic. Okay, we're about to go further towards the extremities of the earth than any flat earther has ever gone. That's incredible, objectively incredible. Last thing I'm going to say, it's like we're throwing a party, okay? And it's super cool. It's high. It's good vibes. Everyone's just having fun, okay? We're just uplifting each other, having a great time. It's a blast. They're just trying to come into the party uninvited and like kick over the jukebox and be like, no, this song sucks. What are you guys doing? Right? That's all they're doing. So just like, buddy, you weren't invited to the party. It's okay if you stay. I need you to just please stop sucking. Okay? That's it. Just ignore them. Act like they're not even at the party because they really weren't invited.
So I
Rant
saw
over.
great reactions. So I mean, that's just not part of it. I think that it'll be world changing if we see the sunset, and that's enough. But why would I need to be? Oh, also let me just piggyback on that and make fun of this guy and humiliate this guy. I just don't see the need. Again, maybe that's because I have better things going on in my life, and the people who need to do that don't. That's the only way I can see it. It's the only thing that makes any sense to me. We're gonna get ready to go back inside though. 1,100 people watching live. Wow, what is this? Like Alex Stein show? Crazy. Wow, look at Witsitt. He looks like Leif Erikson. That's who you look like.
I gotta do Jeran's push-ups. Hey,
thank you.
If you guys,
where's FTFE? FTFE, how many push-ups for a $5,000 donation in Austin's name? Is FTFE here? Probably not.
That's just the craziest story I've ever heard.
Who's hating on who? What am I missing here?
Okay. Like I said earlier, some people were trying to help support on Cash App, but Cash App obviously is rejecting them. So if you want to donate to help with some of the stuff I bought today, etc., Witsitt at protonmail.com.
That's true.
He's such a wanker, and he just, oh my God, how annoying.
What's with his pseudo push-ups?
I know, and all the posing before that, and then that preceded by just the worst religious tardery you've ever heard. He's just becoming like some religious nut, isn't he? The creator.
And I call bullshit on he's been contacted by military contractors and NASA and astrophysicists. Genuine astrophysicists contact me telling me we've been lied to. It's flat. I go, you've got to be. I call bullshit the biggest capital B.
Right. Absolute bollocks.
Mental. Delusional.
He's right there with taboo conspiracy with that one.
Right.
Hell, he was just on videos the other day claiming that he was approached by a bunch of shopkeepers and people in Punta Arenas who are also flat earthers that know that they're sending people to an area that they shouldn't be able to go to.
Fucking hell, he's so full of shit, isn't he? So full of it. Of course, I don't suppose he got any of them on video.
Oh, no, none of them.
Yeah,
because
of course
they wouldn't name them, said they didn't want to be filmed, has no proof of it.
Right. Our final clip now, and they made it to Antarctica, where they found that the catering at Union Glacier Camp was excellent. Here are Witsitt and Jeran enjoying a huge slice of humble pie.
And there you go, everyone. It's there's the sun in all of its glory right there over the Ellsworth Mountains. So here we go. Keep in mind, you can see everybody's cameras out, but the sun is exactly where the globe predicted it would be. Not only is it midnight here, but you are actually looking due south. So the sun is still up, and it is to the south of us. So obviously you all know Jeran Campanella of Jeranism, one of the most popular Flat Earth YouTube channels.
Not for long. All right, guys. Sometimes you are wrong in life. And I thought that there was no 24-hour sun. In fact, I was pretty sure of it. But I respect Will Duffy for being a stand-up guy, at least in the way that he kept saying it was true. I kept saying it wasn't. He said, "You want to go? I'll take you." And he brought me here, and it's a fact. The sun does circle you in the south. So what does that mean? You guys are going to have to figure that out yourself. Don't listen to my beliefs or my opinion. It shouldn't matter to you. But at least you should be able to accept that the sun does exactly what these guys said as far as circles the southern continent. So that's about it. I realize that I'll be called a shill for just saying that. And you know what? If you're a shill for being honest, so be it. I honestly believe there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is. That's it. If you want to call me a shill, so be it. I'll live to see another day, and at least I know that I got to see it. And I just want to say thanks to Will through everything. You've been at least kind to me, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the trip. If you guys want to, my whole master plan worked for getting a free trip out here and to, but no, it's amazing. I can't even tell you. Flying in was the best thing I've ever seen. So looking around, best thing I've ever seen. So, how could I give him a hard time for bringing me down here? $35,000 trip. It's been incredible. It will continue to be incredible. We've got some tracking mounts swinging around, seeing the sun. What does it mean? You have to figure it out. To me, it means that the AE map no longer works, but that doesn't mean that I'm right. It means that it could work. You'll have to figure out how, because I've tried and I struggle with it. The other thing is a 24-hour moon. If that happens, you got another thing we got to worry about. So it seems like the moon does circle here as well. So you start thinking about that as well. It doesn't mean that AE map is over, flat Earth is over. Maybe somebody's got the answer. I don't have that answer right now. So just want to say thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.
What's up? So I'm actually, they're holding guns on the other side of this camera. This is all a stage. No. Yeah. So, I mean, I was one of the people that said I definitely didn't think that there was a 24-hour sun. We obviously haven't actually seen the sun for 24 hours, but it is doing what they said it would do very clearly. And it is still dancing around high in the sky. So obviously we're documenting it. But yeah, I said what I feel about this the whole time. Truth doesn't fear investigation. I think that we're truly trying to figure out the truth. Obviously some people think that what we were told is the truth. I don't think that, but I do think that people need to be honest and humble and be like, whoa, we were wrong. If something doesn't just pop out of the blue and all of a sudden the sun sets or something, when we claim that there was no sun or 24-hour sun. So yeah, and I know a lot of people want to know what my take is in terms of how does it work and stuff. And I will, like a quick teaser, I have seen a physical demonstration that could show this working, but I do think that some of the data we're going to have from this trip may help to clarify if that is actually what's happening. But anyway, long story short, they kind of covered the trip. It's like incredible and beautiful. And when you fly into here, it's just like words can't even describe it, man. It is crazy, crazy beautiful. Obviously this, for people to say that we can't go here and all these people are working here, we obviously never actually claimed that people couldn't go here. We just say you can't freely and privately explore it. But I will say this: when we flow over it, I'd be like, you probably don't want to really do that, you know. So it looks extremely dangerous. It's beautiful, but scary at the same time. And so, you know, they say, look, if you want to go somewhere, we got to survey it and make sure you're not going to fall in and die. And I get it. So yeah, obviously we did know you could go to approved places, but more so the point of this trip is to see if there's a 24-hour sun. There clearly is. I won't go on like a big rant about what I think that means. I don't think it falsifies plain Earth. I don't think it proves a globe. I think it's a singular data point. I will make one more comment kind of as to like the meta here. I do think that we have some strong personalities that get really intense on the camera. And it has been interesting to kind of be all around each other. I think it's been relatively chill. You know, I think it's been pretty cool. I think it's a testament to the idea that we're all just humans, and whether you know it or not, there was a creator and he made you and all of us. And so that's like this basic level that we should all understand. And when there's not all this hoorah on the internet, that kind of becomes pretty self-evident in person. I think that's cool. So yeah, I think the trip's very cool. I'm appreciative to Will. I didn't think it would really happen, so I kind of just sat back and waited. And here we are. Jeran says it's still getting canceled. So who knows? Maybe it does. But yeah, sure enough, the sun is dancing up in the sky. And they followed through with their word. We are in Antarctica. I can assure you, we tracked it with multiple compasses the entire way we were going south or just off of south for 4 consecutive hours from Punta Arenas. I can guarantee you that's where we were as well. So yeah, sure enough, we're here. The sun is doing that in the sky. So we'd have to go back to the drawing board to try to address the preponderance of evidence. But I'll stop there. I do appreciate the opportunity. This is beautiful. I probably would have never come taking the risk of if we would see it or not. And yeah, it's something I'll remember forever. So there's that. And one more thing I'll say: everyone should just try and be nice to each other.
That's a good way to end that video, isn't it?
He immediately followed up by being vile to people on Geos.
Yeah, yeah.
Why doesn't he take his own advice?
Yeah, quite.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what have we learned tonight?
The Earth is not flat.
I was going to say, what a terrible way to turn a large fortune into a small fortune.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he's got lots of money.
He does. He's quite a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Well, Duffy only funded, Duffy didn't fund all 9 of them, just 4.
Oh.
Yeah. It must have cost him the best bit of 200K though. So.
Did he really move the needle though? Did he move the needle even a little? I don't think so. It's water off a duck's back, because it was like you said, Jim, in your email to him. It was never, or his message to him, it was never about evidence anyway.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, it is causing a lot of trouble. I think there'll be some ructions in Flat Earth. There'll be, groups that take different positions. There'll be a group that just says Jeran and Witsitt are just lying and shills and we're all part of it. And there will be a group that say they weren't. And there'll be a group that say it was faked. And
it does do one thing, though.
Yeah.
We now have to come up with new ideas. Flat Earth has been so stagnant on new ideas for so long. We finally are going to have something new to sink our teeth into.
Well, there is that. But I think, Jake, I've said this a few times, I think, what made Flat Earth attractive to a lot of people was that it was providing these very simple solutions to quite complicated things. And I think now they're going to end up with quite complicated solutions to quite simple things. And I think that won't work as well, It will be hard to draw people in. We see too far works fine, doesn't it? But, water can't curve or something like that. But when you've got to try and convince people of azimuthal grids of vision and things like that, I think it might be a bit harder work for them.
Isn't Flat Earth Dave already starting that by using the mirror example?
I don't know. He's going to have to come up with something, isn't he? Because his app that he says works perfectly doesn't work at all now, does it? So
He is jumping
I
on
will-
Hanvey's thing because he posted a video that was Hanvey just talking from one of his latest videos about how this works and shows everything working correctly, even
Right.
though it fucking doesn't.
Right. He always says that about all of all of the 16 that he took down because they didn't work correctly. He said that about. That's it.
And-
I will say-
The final experiment's over. You know, there's no point in doing it now. This debunks it. Sorry.
And the final experiment had been noted that it's not so much about the shape of the Earth as it is a sociology experiment to watch what's happening to them. And we could see, you know, all this bizarro fragmentation, the crazy things that have been said, particularly in those last, you know, couple of weeks leading up to it. This is the results, is just to watch them absolutely flail.
Yeah, that is happening. That definitely is happening.
I was going to say, though, Jim, something that came to my mind after watching all these clips of these other flat Earth. As far as convincing more flat about what happened in Antarctica, the position that Jeran and Witsitt are taking now, which is like, look, this doesn't disprove a flat Earth. This is just us going back to the drawing board. It's just another piece of evidence. Is going to convince a lot more flat Earthers than if they said, you know what, flat Earth debunked. The Earth is a globe. We're all globers now. Like, I think that if Jeran and Witsitt actually came back from Antarctica like that, they would have been like, oh, well, they were compromised. They were brainwashed, replaced with clones, or threatened, or whatever. And they would have just thrown everything away from Antarctica because clearly there's no way that those two could become globers overnight, right?
Right, yeah, you're right.
But it seemed like Jeran kind of tapped out. He said it's for others to figure out. I can't figure it out. It matches what, you know, everything the Globers said it was going to be. And he said, hey, he can't figure it out. He tapped out. And then Witsitt gets up and goes, oh, I have a physical demonstration coming up. Yeah, another tabletop, you know, with a salad bowl.
Yeah, more
With the camera outside the environment, looking in.
Quite, yeah, exactly. That's what the one earlier was.
Oh, and spoiler, Witsitt's tabletop that's going to show it is the Hanvey experiment.
Oh, God.
Or the Hanvey model.
Brilliant.
But it
Okay.
did seem like,
Go on.
It surely seemed like Jeran tapped out.
Yeah, it was.
He
seem
did.
a little bit that way. I guess he wants to sort of shift the burden of proof as well and say, if people are going to come and tell him that he's wrong in some way, or there can still be a flat Earth, now that, you know, okay, how? You know, I think that's what he's doing, you know. Anyway, let's wrap it up. We've been going for more than 3 hours. Thank you ever so much to everyone that turned up. So many of you tonight. It's wonderful. I guess everyone came for December the 15th, 2024, the day the flat Earth died. Anyway, thanks very much. We'll be back in about 5 minutes' time with more from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. And in 2 weeks' time at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. UK time, which is the same time we started tonight, 3 hours before now, with more of this sort of shit. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good evening.